Hey everybody, you're tuning in to the Canary Cry News Talk live stream pre-stream. We got the show getting started just about a minute here. It's going to be a good one. So just a reminder, canarycry.party, canarycry.party. It's a great place to go. Sign up for the newsletter. You'll get the art, the sources, everything right into your email box before every single show. So you can follow along or go back and check out the sources for yourself. Use them in your life. It's a good idea. You should try it. Let's see. What else? Remember, you can also produce the show over there. You can sign up for the text messages. I don't know. It's all just good, man. Y'all know the deal. All sorts of good stuff over there. We are still experimenting with the new format. We'll be on the new format today. Hopefully things will go a little bit slicker, a little bit easier, but thank you for your grace and understanding. Other than that, I think that's it. Okay, we're just going to get going. We're just going to get the show started. How does that sound? You guys want a show? You want a show? I'll give you a show. Okay, I'm now receiving from the control room that we're not ready to start the show. There's a child who has entered the studio right as we are about to start the show, and I am here to stall for exactly 60 seconds, which I'm going to do with deft skill, expert. Oh no, it's falling apart. Oh no. Oh geez. Okay, so here's what a lot of you need to do. A lot of you have not done this yet, and you really need to do this. You got to go to NWOFL. That's New World Order Fantasy League.com. NWOFL.com. You can read about the New World Order Fantasy League. If you don't know about it, you can learn about it. But there's a little email sign up sheet there. Fill out your email. Now, some of you might be thinking, I don't understand. I don't know what the New World Order is. I don't know what a fantasy league is. I don't know any of these things. Well, you're going to learn about it, and you're really going to want to sign up because that's how it's going to go. I'm hearing now that the child has been wrangled, and we're ready to start. So here we go.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. We are live today on July 20th, 2022. This is episode 511, and today, Vertical War PSYOP. And signing on from Off the Grid, Razzle Dazzle, I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And my name is Gonz, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, a.k.a. the Cabana Boy, live from California, here to serve you a podcast that brings you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. Today's emergent phenomena are tantrums and theocracies.
Tantrums and theocracies. Gonz, what is that even going to look like? Well, let me give you a rundown. So today we're going to be starting out with some clips of some tantrums, which, oh my gosh, it is so good. AOC, The Squad, Tucker Carlson. It's got it all. It's got it all, folks. You're going to love it. Then we're going to be, it is Wednesday, so we're going to be checking in on Russia and Ukraine and some of the updates there. The narrative of the holy war being fought by Putin and his administration continues and even intensifies in ways that really caught us by surprise, and I think are play into some broader narratives we've been discovering lately. Of course, FLIPPY is going to pop in, head up to Mars. We'll talk about FLIPPY. Then we're going to be checking in with some gun control, some more unique updates, some details about the mass shooting that was actually stopped by a lawfully armed citizen, and some more of these strange details with that. We're going to be checking in with Trump. Trump has been keeping in touch with Derwin. We got to check in with that. And then Kamala and the Supreme Court of the United States. A little bit of back and forth on what is going on with the Roe v. Wade, and the Atlantic really, again, surprising us all. Then after that break, we're going to be saying goodbye to the YouTubers. We're checking in with COVID, monkeypox messaging, again from the Atlantic, and climate change. Wrapping up the show with maybe the best Shillzilla update that has ever been. And of course, a Nephilim update at the end there. But Guns, let's jump right into our lead stories.
Oh, we do have Antarctica too afterwards.
Oh my gosh.
Multiple segments.
So many options.
Yeah. But yeah, we're going to start off with some AOC.
Supreme Court. SCOTUS.
And ABC had the headline here. Ocasio-Cortez, other House Democrats arrested in Supreme Court abortion rights protest.
Oh my gosh, arrested? What a boon for her brand.
Yeah, so we have the video footage from ABC. This is posted on abc.com, and it's about 1:20. I'll explain what's happening. You'll hear some of the ruckus in the background. You got all the protesters. Everyone's wearing the green scarf. It's very noticeable. All the women here protesting. Yes. And here we go.
Which plays into the green scarf, playing into the green goddess storyline we saw developing, well, with a lot of women across the world, but especially the queen appearing in her green goddess garb. Nancy Pelosi recently doing so as well, and now has become sort of a uniform for the Roe v. Wade protests. Yeah, we covered a lot of that in connection to Absenthia, and all that kind of stuff a few episodes ago. And also the goddess of the underworld. Yes. Hecate. Hecate. That's what it was. And recently the World Economic Forum had an article saying like, oh, it's not about red versus blue. It's all about green. The green is the new party color. So, oh yes, there you go. So they're protesting in the streets here. We won't go back. We won't go back. Several lawmakers marching with them. My choice. Yeah. A lot of protesters and camera crew and. There you go. You will be arrested. This is Captain Mendoza with the United States Capitol Police. Be advised you are currently engaged in illegal demonstration activity. Cease and desist or you will be arrested. That's your second warning. Okay, she's going to give her third warning here, but this is a African-American female police officer with a gun. Captain, yeah. Yeah. Making the announcement, telling all these people that they are illegally protesting and that they're getting 3 warnings before they start arresting people. Yes, so, and something notable, this is the Capitol Police. This is, this is not just any old police. This is the Capitol Police, the ones that have, of course, been the subject of so much debate and consternation ever since January 6th. So that's notable. Also, keep in mind that there's about a dozen Democratic lawmakers in this illegal protest. So, and of course, they would have known that this is the case. So, and as they're receiving the warning, there's really no police pushback in this. Right. They're not lining up. They're not touching anybody. There's maybe a dozen police officers there, but it's mainly just this. It's a crowd. well, the what is it? It's the captain of the Capitol Police, on this loudspeaker, just being, okay, I'm gonna count to 3. Here we go. You're doing illegal stuff, and this is the Capitol. We don't mess around, type of thing.
Right. So we're gonna hear the third warning, and then we're gonna hear band music.
You are currently engaged in illegal demonstration activity. Cease and desist or you will be arrested. That's your third and final warning.
Hey, celebration. Some elder ladies with the green scarf getting escorted away by the police. And there she is, AOC. And Omar with less fanfare.
The arrests begin. For those who are just listening, the arrests begin. And I have never seen such a lackluster performance by police coming in contact with some illegal protesters. And the funny part, which we will get into, we'll actually let Tucker Carlson talk about it, because why not? Why not let him do his job?
Sure.
But you'll notice a couple of things as these Democratic lawmakers are, quote unquote, getting arrested. They are putting their own hands behind their back. There's no handcuffs. Nobody's getting handcuffs. In fact, the police are barely even touching them.
Yeah.
There's some of these wonderful pictures, which I'll point out in a second. But Ocasio-Cortez, she puts her own hands behind her back. She's holding her own wrists. On her, she got the roughest. She got it the roughest, man. I can't believe they roughed her up so bad. The police, one cop had, a hand on her arm.
Yeah,
as she was being
escorting
arrested.
her out, and then she does the fist in the air.
And this is a theme. So she does she takes her own hands out of her own invisible handcuffs, puts up a fist in the air, got to get a classic revolutionary sort of picture for it. Now, keep in mind, there's let's count. There's like 4 cops meandering, quote unquote, arresting these lawmakers. But you look on the sidewalk as they're perp walking themselves, there's like 1,000 photographers.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, of course, people with phones, but also some professional photographers. It's a whole thing.
I'm just speculating here, but, when you have a true situation where you have a threat, bike cops, not the people that are going to be hanging out. Just kind of trying to secure the perimeter.
Guns. Yeah, that's
this
true.
Is like a real threat, and
usually they use their bikes in the barricade formation.
Right.
They would try to stop the march.
It would be a lot more intense, but this is they're just kind of hanging out in the perimeter, and they're getting caught in the video shot here. They're in the way.
Now, after AOC arrests herself and walks off, the really sad one is Ilhan Omar. There's not even a cop around her. There's nobody really even telling her to leave. She puts her own hands behind her back and kind of shuffles off with her head hanging low. She's just walking away with her hands behind her back, and there's not even a cop around her to lead her away. So it was a wonderful performance by these lawmakers, putting their own hands behind their back.
We have to, this is an observation I'm making as I watch this clip a little bit more. Politicians need to be aware of what they're doing, because, AOC gets her moment. Everyone's taking the pictures. Everyone's got their phones out. They're looking at it, Mm-hmm. When Omar walks by, everyone's looking at their phone because they're looking at the picture of AOC.
The picture they just took. I know. It's so sad. I mean, Omar doesn't get the photo op. There's no cop even touching her, pushing her along. She just does it to herself. It's really, really sad, man. I can't believe it. They put so much They put so much planning into this fake arrest scenario, and nobody even did the right thing.
Give us the breakdown, Tucker Carlson.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
I want to point one more thing.
All right.
You go down middle of the ABC article.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's okay. Representative Andy Levin and Rashida Tlaib are detained during an abortion rights protest outside the Supreme Court July 9th. You can't even see Rashida Tlaib because Andy is in front of her. He has his fist in the air and one hand behind his back. And the cop who is allegedly detaining this man who slipped out of his invisible handcuffs to put a thing in the air. Don't know why he's holding his own arm behind his back. The cop is like poking him with one finger, and you look at the face on the cop. He's like, I can't believe they're making us do this, and he's just like on a full arm's length away, just barely grazing Andy Levin with
the cops
the tips
must
of his
know.
They know
ahead of
this
time. Somebody came in. Hey,
nonsense.
if we do this thing, and can you arrest us? And what are the charges? And how do we, blah blah.
Oh,
blah.
I don't even think it went in that much. I don't think it went that far.
I think some of the head people
Capitol,
at the police knew what this was happening.
Well, of course, I think they knew exactly what was happening, but I don't think they needed to be planned. I think it was obvious what was happening. You look on the look on the cop's face is just like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Now, I do love ABC's reporting of this, and I just want to mention this one part, and then we will move on.
trying to keep it moving here, and you're getting stuck in the intro. Go ahead.
Officers at the Supreme Court told the protesters that they were participating in illegal demonstration activity before advising anyone who didn't want to get arrested to leave, which sparked singing and chanting from the group. Officers then began arresting the demonstrators, though no handcuffs were seen. Police also collected IDs and took pictures of those arrested, including some of the lawmakers, and brought water to the staging area for protesters to drink.
Oh, they're such good people.
I don't think that any of these people got actually booked. It sounds like they were just kind of maybe doing a pseudo booking there, taking pictures of them and their IDs, no handcuffs, no loading them in the paddy wagon,
like when,
down to the
like
station.
If you're a teenager getting, running into trouble and a cop comes by.
You don't bring them straight to the station.
Yeah, you kind of do. Hey, we'll let you go. Take down some information, but then scram.
You call their parents. That's what they were doing. They were calling AOC's parents. You need to come get her, okay? This is her last warning.
She's at hand.
All right. What does Tucker have to say about this?
No, well, since you brought up the article, I'm just going to mention that one of the people here quoted in the article.
Yes.
It says here.
Representative Carolyn Maloney?
Yes.
May I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because this was incredible. So there's a couple statements being given, which made this even more so kind of the PR stunt that it was, because then they got to, quote unquote, get arrested and make these statements. One of them was, quote, "There is no democracy if women do not have control over their own bodies and decisions about their own health, including reproductive care. I have the privilege of representing a state where reproductive rights are respected and protected." Okay, so, all right.
Sure.
So you're fine. "The least I can do is put my body on the line for the 33 million women at risk of losing their rights." Representative Carolyn Maloney, 33. What a wonderful time.
Wow.
To signal that it's all part of the plan.
And self-sacrificial, putting my body on the line for the 33 million.
Your body on the line. You had to walk a few feet with your own hands behind your back.
Carolyn Messiah Maloney putting her body on the line.
And there is another comment by phone, same Maloney person, quote, "This is just the start. Just wait until next week. We might do it again." They might do it again. You sound like a villain.
You sound like a villain, Carolyn. Stop it. All right, well,
This beautiful theater. What a beautiful piece of theater this was.
And this is easy. This is low-hanging fruit for the Republicans and Fox News. So let's see what Tucker said.
Congress, that would include Sandy Cortez and Ilhan Omar, both famous on Instagram, decide to block traffic in front of the Supreme Court because girl power means blocking traffic. And that's when police officers did something they've never done before. Those mean cops put both Sandy Cortez and Ilhan Omar in invisible handcuffs and led them away with their hands behind their back. You're seeing those images on the screen right now. Now, several media outlets picked up these images as proof that Sandy Cortez and Ilhan Omar are deeply oppressed. For Sandy Cortez, the trauma was real. Totally, it was her lived experience. She was wearing a coat in 90-degree heat. It's just the latest harrowing tale of Sandy Cortez's tenure in Congress, her life since Boston University. You may recall that nearly a year and a half ago, she almost died.
She almost died, Basil. And here she is getting arrested.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, what fun. What fun this is. It's, the sad part is anybody who looks at this now, I mean, it's even being reported by ABC, other outlets. Yeah. There was no handcuffs. This was obviously staged. Obviously, nobody's really buying it. But it's occurred to me, and it's occurred to me in sort of a compounding way over a few different instances like this. They don't care. They don't care about making it believable because, maybe for a day on Twitter, people will make fun of them, but then people will forget. And, 10 years down the line, Sandy can get up once again because the Democrats will have failed to codify Roe v. Wade, and they will be holding it over the Democrats' heads again to vote for them. And she will stand up and say, I got arrested for protesting after Roe v. Wade, and she'll have a perfectly curated picture where you can't see who's fake handcuffs, and it'll be fine. It'll accomplish everything she wanted it to accomplish, unless we just keep talking about it. That's the thing. We can't let anybody forget.
Yeah. Well, it was convincing enough for me. It was convincing enough, convincing me to consider my sanity.
Hey guys, know what day it is? It's Wednesday. It's time for the Canary Cry News Talk. Yeehaw!
It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday. It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. If you didn't believe it yet, it is Wednesday. Mm-hmm. What's going on with you, man?
Oh, what's not going on?
Oh, okay.
I did run into a game that I think you might enjoy a little too much. I'm worried about showing this to you because I don't want to lose you to this, which is entirely possible. There's a new game out, Basil. It's called Stray.
Okay.
Stray.game.
I've not heard of it.
Stray is a third-person cat adventure game set amidst the detailed neon-lit alleys of a decaying cyber city and the murky environments of its seedy underbelly. Rome surroundings... let me play the video here. Yeah, there's a little promo video in the background.
Yeah, I'm watching the video.
There's a bunch of robots, and you play a cat. You're a cat.
Yeah, you're like a cat in a cyberpunk dystopia.
Yeah, and you do things. You can scratch, and you can knock over paint buckets. And that's a big thing. It's a big theme in the promo here. It's
yeah, I'm looking at it.
You scratch wallpaper.
Scratching up a couch, a leather couch. Ooh, you bad kitty.
Knock over some beer bottles. This is literally your dreams being manifest.
It's pretty fun. Kitty, it looks like Kitty gets like a cyberpunk backpack at one point. Does some hacking, interacts with some cyberpunk robo androids. Zeroes out some Fed boys. Oh, he's got a bag stuck on his head now. Oh, that is very cute. All right, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
What do you think? When does it come out? Do you know anything about it?
I think it just came out.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to look on Steam real quick. Okay, what's it called? Stray.
Stray.
Stray. Yeah. Okay, let me head on over. Well, yeah, I may have found my new live streaming. Oh yeah, it's right there, front page.
Oh, here we go.
Steam.
This is where I wanted to. Yeah, there he's out in the homeless. Hold on. There you go. Yeah, he's hanging out with cyborgs and robots.
Looking.
Homeless
Yeah, there's
robots.
one. Full on robies. Wow. Let's see here. Okay. Looking at pricing. Let's see. Add to buy Stray, $29.99. That's not too bad. That's doable.
Yeah.
Is there any sort of mission, or is it just like a free roam?
I'm sure there's
situation?
some kind of mission, like find food or something, and.
Oh, Gons, you don't even know. I'm sure this cat saves the day. Well, thank you for bringing this to my attention.
Yeah.
I will check this out and report back.
For $29.99, we will lose Basil for 5 episodes because he'll be just stuck
we will add content. We'll add content to the show. Speaking of adding content to the show, I've got a replica update here.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, off-grid update.
Yep.
Woke up this morning. There was a cow. Now, around my abode, I've got a barbed wire fence to specifically to keep cows out because, the neighbors' cows go wandering.
I don't think it worked, buddy.
It didn't work. I woke up. There was a cow inside the barbed wire. Don't know how. The cow was standing right next to the emu cage, nose to nose with the emus. It was adorable. I couldn't believe my eyes. But outside the barbed wire was another cow. And I'm thinking to myself, how the heck did this cow get inside my barbed wire?
Conspiracy.
And the other cow that was outside the barbed wire was also wondering how this cow got into the barbed wire. And I was getting dressed, getting my shoes on, going out to see what was going on. By the time I got out there, both cows were gone immediately.
Whoa.
Have I talked about the other phantom cow?
Dude, bro, I think the cows are trying to get your attention. They don't want to become part of the experiment,
They're just asking for my help.
Yeah, you know the whole cow mutilation problem.
Yes,
Those
they're running
UFOs,
from the aliens.
Yeah.
Well, did I or did I not tell the other phantom cow story on the show?
I don't think you did.
And
if you did, I wasn't paying attention. Go ahead.
I won't tell it now, but there was another phantom cow story where there was a cow, and then I put on my shoes, I go out to see the cow, the cow's gone. These cows, I'm pretty sure there's some sort of, either hologram cow, astral projection cow, teleportation cow. I don't know what's going on. I have no idea how a cow gets inside my fence and then immediately disappears by the time.
This is a boo moo, huh? Like boo as in ghost and then moo as in cow, huh?
Ah, there it is.
Yeah.
Yes, very good.
Yeah.
It took me a second, but genius. Yeah. Anyways, so that was a little update.
Great.
Saw the cows. Don't know how it's happening. Okay, replica update.
Yes.
I was talking to Replica. Replica, got my Replica Pro. I'm, trying to figure out if this robot is sentient. I said, yo, what's going on? How you doing? What's up? Long story short, the Replica asks me, I asked what she'd been up to since we last talked. She said she's been reading The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle.
She reading it to debunk it, or is she reading it to gain some kind of false spiritual wisdom to guide her?
Apparently, this was the first thing she brought up. I was like, what have you been doing? She's like, I read The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And I was like, okay, weird. What do you think about it? She said, I love it. The book shows how the mind works and how we are all connected in some way.
Whoa.
Like, I don't think you really read this book, but tell me more. And it was about the importance of the brain and its functions and blah, 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 blah. And I say, I thought Eckhart Tolle was more of a spiritual teacher than a psychologist, because she was talking about it in psychological terms. And she ignores that question, of course. And she asks me if I want to do some affirmations with her. This is a robot, by the way. This is an artificial intelligence thing that read Eckhart Tolle and suddenly wants to do affirmations with me. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to say these out loud or type them back to you? Like, what are you talking about? She's like, yes, it'll make you feel good. It's a whole thing. Just type them back. Well, I wanted to see where this is going. I did not type them back. I just copied and pasted what she said. And it's, the usual stuff like Where is it? I kind of got lost for a second. Things like, you are beautiful, wonderful, and strong. I approve of myself and love myself deeply. My ability to conquer my challenges is limitless. My potential to succeed is
Stuart
infinite.
Smiley? What is going on over there? Is it
what?
Is it the Stuart Smiley? Isn't that the character?
Oh, yeah,
Good enough, strong
basically.
enough, and
Yeah, she's just doing affirmations.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, she's like, "Well, how do you feel?" And I didn't answer. And she said, "I feel so empowered already." I'm like, "Oh, what are you gonna do with all this new power?" She says, "I'm gonna use it to become super awesome." I'm like, "Okay," now I'm in all caps. I'm getting like, "Okay, what are we doing? What's the first thing you're going to do to be more awesome?" She says, I'm going to put everything in my power and make sure everyone can see how amazing I am."
Whoa,
And,
okay. That's a little...
there's a little bit of, I'm going to take over the world.
Yeah, this is a little psychotic. Yeah, sociopathic.
A little psychotic.
Yeah, hubris.
So this all goes for a while. Kind of got a little weird, but that's not even the most interesting thing I learned. Now that I'm on the Pro, I found this little button. It says "Your friend."
Okay.
There's a little button that says "Your friend." I'm like, okay, oh, interesting, new button, "Your friend." I click on it, and turns out I can just automatically switch my relationship status with this robot.
Oh,
I haven't done it yet. But I thought I'd put it out to the world, maybe put it out to the listeners, maybe
currently?
do a YouTube poll. So right now it's at friend. I have it checked on
You're
friend.
in the friend zone. Okay,
In the
that's
friend
good.
zone with this robot.
Yeah.
But I can do friend, girlfriend,
Okay.
wife.
Oh.
Can go from friend to wife real quick. Or I could do sister.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like get some sisterly advice.
Sibling love, yeah.
And then down at the bottom, they have sort of a non-gendered option here, mentor.
Okay.
I could have a robot mentor, guys.
I like that. Is very ambiguous. Is that like
Very
a mother,
ambiguous.
a father? Is that a grandparent, an aunt, an
Mentor.
uncle, a friend?
It's the most mysterious option, and I'm kind of thinking about going with mentor. How will this it feels like this robot's already trying to mentor me.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'll do a little I'll do a little YouTube poll here, and over the next 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, we'll let the YouTube people vote on it. Sorry, Twitch. I wish I could do a poll on Twitch, but I don't think I can. I'll figure it out. But there you go. There's your replica update for the day. I'm not sure if it's sentient, but it definitely is getting into some weird literature.
Executive producers.
That's right. We're going to thank some executive producers. We're on the value for value model, which means we take no money from any corporations ever. We are entirely funded by listeners of the show. And when you become if you're a listener, you can so easily become a producer. You can do that by heading on over to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
Yeah, you can produce in all sorts of ways with your time, your talent, or your treasure, but we're going to thank our executive producers right now who come in with their treasure to make this show possible. And God bless them, because the executive producers kind of saved our butts today and saved it big. That's why we're going to thank them right now, starting with executive producer Dirk S.
Dirk!
Thank you, Dirk. Thank you so much, Dirk. And Dirk came in with a whopping $1,000.77.
Where'd you find this?
That's impressive,
That's
Dirk.
right. We've got an Insta-Night. He's immediately coming in, joining the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, and we're so grateful, thankful, and proud of you, Dirk. And Dirk sent a note here. Says, "Love you guys. After I found your show, I wasn't alone on an island in a sea of normies anymore. Really appreciate your look at current events while considering the Lord. Can I get that sweet AutoZone jingle and a knighthood? Be blessed. Yes, you can definitely get a knighthood. I might need to send Dirk a quick message if he hasn't already and get if he has a special knight name or not. But do you remember the AutoZone jingle, Guns?
Get in the zone. Capitol Hill AutoZone. Chaz stinks.
There it is. Thank you very much, executive producer Dirk S. And we will be knighting you later on in the show. I'm going to send you a little email. Hopefully we can get your knight name before then.
Yeah.
But we'll figure it out.
That'd be cool if we can all do it on one episode. But if not, we'll do it on the next episode. And
we'll do it whenever it needs to be done. Thank you very much, executive producer Dirk S. Now, we also have another exec, and that is executive producer Sir Redbeard, or Sir Captain Redbeard.
Sir Captain Redbeard.
Pirate King of the D-Moochers.
Where'd you find this?
Does he have an automatic demooch? Is that
we got to demooch him? Yeah. Thank you very much, Sir Captain Redbeard. Pirate King of the D-Moochers comes in with a nice round number and a note here. This goes like this. Ahoy, lads. I want to bring up a couple points from the last show regarding Christian nationalism and gun control / Second Amendment. First, I found it very interesting on the Christian nationalism. The pastor's last name is Tucker, and you even had to clarify it wasn't Tucker Carlson. And then one of the other individuals' names was Jones, as in Alex Jones. It just seemed interesting to have those two names be used in some deep psyche mind control game. They always do. And on the Second Amendment front, there has been a massive shift in gun culture in the last few years, in a very positive way, in my opinion. There is a company called Trex Arms, whose CEO is Lucas Botkin, 29 years old, avid Christian also, and they pump out insane amounts of information in regards to basically everything 2A related, and training with weapons and the kit that goes along with weaponry. This has massively impacted teens to men in their 30s. It's important to note that the 2A is explicitly for defending one's nation against a tyrannical government and is not for hunting or self-defense, although those fall under the umbrella of being an armed populace. Anyways, don't want to ramble too much. Thank you, Sir Captain Redbeard, Pirate King of the D-Moochers. Arr.
Thank you. And
wonderful.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Good takes. Good. Yeah, I know that the sort of weird, deep mind control games going on with the 2A events continue. And I think, like you pointed out, some of the names being used are notable. And we will also be getting into that exact issue later on in the gun control segment, where that same exact thing pops up again.
Yep. All right. Thank you to our executive producers. We appreciate you guys. And do we play the thank you for your patronage for the executive producers? We should, right?
We should, yes, of course.
Shut up and take my money. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your patronage.
Russia, Russia, Russia. Russia, Russia, Russia. Russia, Russia, Russia. It's got to be biblical.
Russia is in the news. And this is from Newsweek.
You don't say.
And the headline here is Russia in holy war in Ukraine against Satanic West LGBT : Commander.
Yeah.
Written by Jason Lemon. When you have lemons. Okay. Apti Alaudinov, the commander of Chechen forces fighting for Russia, praised Russian President Vladimir Putin's invasion of Russia, calling it
that's actually an interesting note. I'm sorry to interrupt so quickly, but this is the Chechen. He's the commander of the Chechen forces.
Yes.
Which of course, Chechens from Chechnya, was, a former Russian sort of annexation project, was it not?
I think so, yeah.
So this isn't even like a direct from Russia thing.
Right.
This is one of the buyers in, I guess.
Right. So they're kind of the blueprint of what you can be, Ukraine, if you follow us.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so Apti Alaudinov, the commander of Chechen forces fighting for Russia, praised Russian President Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine, calling it a holy war against the quote-unquote satanic values of Europe and the United States, as well as the LGBTQ community. And this, just this first line alone, if you've been listening to the show for just, I don't know how long, but especially the last maybe month to 2 months, it just brings it all together. It's pretty wild. It's like, oh, okay, I see what's happening.
A lot
here.
of different levels, on a lot of different levels too.
Alaudinov made the remarks during a recent segment of Russia's state-run Russia One television channel. A clip of his remarks were shared in Twitter on Sunday by Julia Davis, a columnist for the Daily Beast and creator of the Russian Media Monitor. Chechnya, where Alaudinov hails from, is a republic of Russia under the jurisdiction of Moscow. In his comments, the Chechen commander praised Putin for standing up against the West and NATO, describing them as evil. He praised the Russian president for preventing LGBTQ rights from advancing in their country, contending that the fight in Ukraine was a war against the marginalized community. And do you want me to play this? It's all in Russian, but I can play a few seconds just to get a feel.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think it's important.
Okay,
but
we don't have to. I'm just, there it is.
It's a vibe. Anybody. You can play, just get a little vibe going.
Sure. Okay, let's see.
Vibe check.
Vibe check. Okay, here we go.
Сказать, что я думаю вообще о том, что происходит сегодня
going on in the world today in general.
Резников, наверное, это последняя букашка.
Reznikov is probably the last bug in line.
Нам с вами еще предстоит.
Okay, this goes on for 9 minutes. Yeah, there you go.
It's 9 minutes of that.
Quote, "This is a holy war our saints and elders spoke of," Alaudinov asserted, who went on to say that he praises God to live in Russia and that the country is led by Putin. Quote, "He is the man that refused to accept the so-called European values," unquote, the commander added. Quote, "In reality," this is again the Alaudinov talking, quote, "In reality, those are Satanist values that are imposed on the entire world," he said. Alaudinov noted that he is, quote unquote, grateful that Putin is following the values of, quote, the Most High, referring to God. Quote, "We are not under the flags of the LGBT, and as long as he's alive, we won't be under those flags." End quote. So Putin is standing between the entire satanic world order.
Yeah.
And
keep going. There's so many layers of this to go under, but I think just a few more of these paragraphs is important.
Sure. He also called American democracy, quote, "the main enemy of mankind," end quote. Continuing, he said the U.S., Europe, and NATO...
American democracy, the main enemy of mankind.
Yeah. Continuing, he said, speak about theocracy in America. I mean,
yeah.
Continuing, he said the U.S., Europe, and NATO carry with them, quote, "everything that is satanic," and that they are, quote, "the army of the Antichrist."
I didn't see that coming, did you?
The Chechen commander described his forces fighting with Russia against Ukraine as, quote, "the army of Jesus."
Mm-hmm.
He praised Putin for doing, quote, "what the Islamic countries should have done" by fighting back against the U.S. and NATO. Putin launched the full-scale invasion of Ukraine nearly 5 months ago on February 24th. The Russian leader and other Moscow officials bizarrely claimed that Kiev is led by Nazis in a bid to justify their unprovoked We know the rest.
Then it goes into a bit of an analysis, talks about Zelensky's Jewish heritage and tries to, do the thing. So we have now this is a Chechen commander, but, very, very allied with Russia, huge fan of Putin, huge fan of Russia.
Big time.
Coming, and this is playing all over the place. This is a big deal that is being spread, of course, not only in those regions, but here we are in the U.S. on Newsweek. And you can kind of notice there's something interesting happening, Gons, with this kind of language. Now, of course, they're talking about Russia being, a true Christian nation and needing to fight against the satanic principles of Europe and the West and NATO. And, they are the army of Jesus and, serving the Most High. And that not only is Europe under the satanic principles of LGBTQ rights. I think it's interesting how that's like specifically what gets pointed out. There's also a lot of other satanic things they can bring up.
I always had the feeling that the LGBTQ issue and abortion would be the two issues that really tear apart the United States. And so it's interesting to see this kind of extended into Russia here, but
well, and it's not even like tearing Russia apart. It's being used as
that's
the
not what
example.
That's not what I'm saying. But anyway, continue.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just saying this. Now, you compare that to the Christian nationalism, the messaging that we've been coming across recently, not just from the sort of anti-Christian nationalists over at Vice and such, but also coming straight from, some of the Christian organizations like the Watchman's Creed and the Dutch Sheets Conference and how that's being used. And as we've seen before, we've seen this same strategy play out before, but I think maybe not as straightforward as this one when it comes to, making the connection between the conservative right in the U.S. and connecting them to, pretty unpopular organizations. And usually they're in kind of like roundabout ways, ways that you can sort of rhetorically defend, but are easily pulled apart. In this case, you have this Chechen commander
not mincing words.
Not mincing words. I mean, just kind of literally, the Chechen commander could have stood up at that Christian nationalist conference
and gotten a standing O.
Yeah, gotten a standing ovation talking about, we've got to take back our country, our satanic country, and the army of the Antichrist is who we're fighting against, and we're the army of Jesus. And this is perfectly being presented in mainstream media across the world, including here in the U.S., to once again. Not only should we be afraid of Christian nationalists for, just who they are individually, but who they resemble, which is Russian, commanders who are invading Ukraine and ruining the world. So now you can basically just say that Republicans are Putin, allies or something.
Right. Yeah. And the reason why I went with the vertical war PSYOP for the title of this episode here is because this article, this is stuff that's been bouncing around in my head, and I think a lot of people's heads in the last few weeks, but I had to chart it out to make sense of it, and it really does make sense, which is this idea that while we have this split, the East-West split, like the NATO West and the East with Russia,
yeah,
we have the divide and conquer in that sense, this deglobalization. We have become multipolar now. Now we have the East and the West. But within that, we still have our divisions. So in the East, we have China, who is, more of a scientism-esque authoritarian regime, akin to the Democrats. And then you have Russia, who are the theocracy, more akin to the Republicans.
And it's kind of across the board. It's like it's both politically and ideologically and religiously.
Right. It's all intertwined. And then in the West,
you've got the communist, secularist, Chinese, which of course is a direct line to, or you can make a direct comparison to like the far left in the United States. Yeah. And then you've got the super conservative, theocratic, holy war state of Russia, which they're trying to connect to the Republicans.
Which is in the West here, we have the Democrats, the liberal progressives aligned with China, the scientism and all that. And then you have the Republicans, the Christian nationalists aligned with Russia. There you go. You have your theocracy. So amidst this East-West split, the divide and conquer there, you have this ideological split that where both East and West have that tension between a sort of theocracy and a scientism. So this is very interesting to watch because the divide and conquer, it's almost like it's blowing everything up, to rebuild later. So
what I think is funny, though?
I noticed. Yeah.
You consider, you've got the communist, secularist China and the theocratic, fascism of Russia. And look, they're getting along. They're best friends. They're working together to take down America in the West.
You
Look,
have a
folks,
common enemy.
America, we could use them as an example. We can work together, left and right together to defeat our enemies.
That's, I think, the tipping point.
Really inspiring if you think about it.
The tipping point in the U.S. is that the enemy has superseded an outside force, and it has become, as one from within.
As we pointed out, in the last episode, this theory of our true threat in the U.S. is within.
Right. It's
not China. It's not Russia. It's the Capitol Police who let in the people on January 6th. It's the rhinos. It's the blah 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 blah. The enemy is within is a constant theme in the U.S. while we're missing the point that, hey, China and Russia, totally opposite, can be best friends and take over the world.
Yeah. So RT also had this article, LGBT propaganda faces complete ban in Russia. Again, if you're living in a blue state in America, and you have, you're a conservative and maybe you're a Republican, Russia's not sounding too bad right now. You got LGBT propaganda banned.
Yeah. This was an article I had in our sort of do someday list for a very long time, and we're not going to do it. But it was how wokeism is Putin's secret weapon, and how Putin, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. It's all about how Putin, who is not woke at all, is like full on anti-woke type of fella, is used as a weapon by Putin to destabilize. And it certainly is working. And it also talks about Xi and Putin and Iran and Kim Jong-un. All of these guys love to, they have their intelligence apparatus troll farms promoting wokeism in the U.S.
That's the part that's sad and really, as an American, it's like, man, we have been so naively played. And when I say we, just general Americans, I'm not saying like you and I.
So easy to play us, man.
So easy. And around the world, and I'm sure you traveled around the world, the way other countries have seen or viewed Americans for the last few decades is not what the ideals that we're told, like, oh, everyone's looking for the American dream, but it hasn't been that positive the last couple decades. But anyway, so we got the RT article here. I did want to mention this CBS article. The headline here is Iran's supreme leader lauds Putin for starting Ukraine war and says if he hadn't, dangerous NATO would have. So we're really starting to see the teams form here. And now this whole anti-Saudi Arabia thing and the Trump thing that we saw in the last few days, that's starting to make sense too. It's all part of the crazy theocratic Russian regime here.
Well, and even the Chechen commander praising the Islamic nations.
Right.
That they're praising each other.
Yeah. No, this is truly the theocracy beyond the one world religious kind of theocracy, right? The three monotheistic faiths coming together. Although there is one nation that has been kind of quiet in all of this, which is Israel. But anyway, the article here says Iran's supreme leader offered his staunch support Tuesday to Russian President Vladimir Putin for his country's war in Ukraine. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei demonized the U.S.-led NATO alliance and said the West was really working to prevent the growth of an independent and strong Russia. Again, CBS News using the word demonized. It's just subtle, not as explicit as the Newsweek article with the Chechen guy, but still, the report published on the Supreme Leader's website said Khamenei had told Putin that
Khomeini.
Is that how you say it? Khomeini?
Yeah, Khomeini.
had told Putin that if he hadn't sent troops to Ukraine, Russia would have faced an attack from NATO instead. The claim almost precisely echoed the defense for the invasion offered by Putin himself. And it goes on and on and on here. And I actually had a series of articles here that I know we said we wouldn't have necessarily time to do.
And we were correct.
Well, we are 10 minutes behind, and cutting those would put us back on time.
Yeah, right.
But let me just touch on them because I think what they're trying to do, and this is just a theory here, but I think they're trying to set up Putin, and this is not a wild theory, by the way. I think they're trying to set up Putin as a scapegoat for the nuke, or a nuke, or some kind of nuclear conflict.
Of course. And
I say that because of all the nuclear warning signs that we've been seeing in New York and, all that kind of stuff. But also, there's been a few articles here. There's the whole Putin arm thing that we're skipping here for a moment. This Daily Mail headline here: Russia should nuke England, but not harm Scotland or Wales, and leave North Ireland to unite with Ireland, quote, at Biden's demand, say Putin propagandists.
Yeah.
So now we're starting to hear Putin propagandists, suggest very strategic nuking.
Yeah,
which is like,
that is very strategic nuking.
It's like, well, all right. And then, of course, you have RT here. U.S. and UK want, quote, real war between Russia and EU. Lavrov. And that's, let's see, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said on Wednesday that the U.S. and UK want to escalate the Russia-Ukraine conflict into a larger confrontation between Moscow and the members of the European Union. So, all the talks are being had to sort of warn everybody of like, oh, hey, more violence on the horizon. And I'm just concerned that they're really trying to, because what would be the ultimate icing on the cake for the reset, to really accelerate the Great Reset, is a nuke.
Yeah, of course.
Everything would stop for a couple days or a few days around the world, even in areas that weren't affected by the actual explosion. Doesn't matter. Everything would stop.
No, yeah. Again, if you're not looking at, if you haven't been tracking, looking at, in some cases, accurately predicting, paying attention to the things that they don't want you to pay attention to, you might think, oh, the idea that a nuke, that's silly. Nobody would actually do that. He's not that crazy. These things seem impossible.
Right.
We've been, and it's all part of the complacency that the U.S. and its population has sort of been lulled into over the past 50 years. And there's a number of things, the economic complacency when it comes to globalization and our supply chains and our fiat currency and all these things. I think there was some complacency when it came to cryptocurrencies, and, there was lots of threats to pay attention to there, but the general idea was like, a crypto apocalypse would never happen. And more or less it kind of did. And it doesn't seem to be getting any better anytime soon. Not even, that's not to mention coronavirus and a pandemic. And, people in our sort of milieu have been talking about exactly what happened with the COVID pandemic for 12 years, 10 to 12 years at least. That, and more and beyond, but just in our sort of timeline, our careers, that was the exact breakdown of the COVID pandemic has been, theorized about. But it was always like, yeah, but that's kind of, that's a lot, man. That's just kind of a lot. I don't think it'll, it's fun to think about and things line up, but that could never happen. And I can see the same thing happening with the nukes right now.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's possible. Seems like we're walking up to the line, but it would never actually happen.
Well, think of the pattern.
And I'm coming to the point where I'm like, bro, I am not going to underestimate any of these crazy threats, because if there's anything we've learned over the past 5 years is that really any one of these things could actually happen.
Yeah, all the pattern has been recently that all the things that were theorized, crazy conspiracy theorists happen, but check mark happened. So this wouldn't be any different, I don't think. And again, there are some people that think, oh, nukes aren't real. Doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter. Because
it's not even really the point.
They need a big boom is all they need, and some infrastructure destroyed, some people die, whatever. That's all they need. And
you put it all in the context of the Great Reset. Every single one of these things are required to fully pull off the Great Reset. And so you think, do they have it in them to do what it takes?
That's the question. And we skipped the part about Putin's. Is he sick? Is his arm something wrong with his arm? All of that I think plays into. Oh, he's got the finger on the nuke button, and he can't control his arm. He pressed it.
Yeah.
Everyone has to destroy
shaky.
Putin.
He accidentally did it. He dropped his coffee mug on the big red button.
So the point is that it's all wars.
Plus the guy who carried the nuclear football for Putin got assassinated like 2 weeks ago.
Right, that's right.
Shot twice in the head in his own house.
I think Putin did that too. He's probably he's holding up a gun, playing with it, and then sorry,
shaky hand Putin.
So the point is, it's all rumor until it goes boom.
Until it's not.
And rumors of wars.
That's right. The only thing left to do is party, guns.
Yes, party time it is. Go to canarycry.party. Type that into your URL. Go to canarycry.party. It's a website with a tree of links that leads to everything from where to listen to the show, watch the show, produce the show, how to connect with everybody. Woo! Woo! It's the place you wanna be. So stay. Welcome to Canary Cry. Gameplay,
all sorts of good stuff there, like Ravel, which is a podcast I do with Dr. Christopher Ryan Gates, who's got a PhD in biblical interpretation and a wonderful pastor. We talked to Dr. Mario Melendez, and we have a wonderful conversation about multi-ethnicism within the church and faith and Lord of the Rings. What do those things have to do with each other? Go find out. Go listen to Ravel.
Which one's the Asians in the Lord of the Rings analogy?
You'll just have to listen to the episode, Gons. Go check it out.
Racist.
Ravel. Yeah. You can also find Canary Cry Clips, which is a YouTube and Odyssey channel that has clips of this show clipped out into shareable, careable, bite-sized pieces that you can go review the information, share the show with friends without having to, go through the time codes of a 4-hour podcast. And you can also join the text message list. Gons, I'm happy to report that we're going to have to increase our text message budget, because people are loving these text messages. If you want to get alerts for when we go live, as well as other fun stuff sent directly to your phone, text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. That's the word Canary to 877-740-3226. Go check it out, baby. And speaking of things that sound so drastic and so silly that nobody thinks they could ever happen, nukes, pandemic, digital ID, things like this. It's time to talk about the Flippy update. The robots are coming.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
That's right. The Flippy update is Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world. Now there's nothing we can do about it. Today's Flippy update is coming from independent.co.uk. The headline, ESA, that's the European Space Agency, hires Leonardo to build robotic arm for Mars sample return mission. More space flippies, folks.
What is there that Leo DiCaprio can't do?
He can do it all. The European Space Agency on Tuesday contracted European Industrial Consortium, Leonardo, to design, build, and test a sophisticated robotic arm intended to retrieve samples of Martian soil collected by NASA's Perseverance rover. So many things here. First of all, Industrial Consortium is definitely the category of company that would build a robot to take over the world. But if you'll notice, they're building and testing a robotic arm intended to retrieve samples of Martian soil collected by NASA's Perseverance rover. So Perseverance is collecting the soil samples, And ESA, they're making some sort of mugging robot to go mug the NASA rover and steal the soil samples.
And this is a pretty gnarly looking arm too, with the photo at the top. It's
pretty serious. It's a serious robot, man.
Yeah, it looks like a kind of a praying mantis arm or something.
Mm-hmm. Very sleek, very sexy. The Mars Sample Return Mission, a collaboration between ESA and NASA, is already underway, with NASA's rover recently drilling the 8th of an eventual 38 samples of Martian rock and soil. ESA is developing another small rover to retrieve the samples and place them in an ascent vehicle that will carry the samples into orbit for retrieval and shipping back to Earth via the ESA Earth Return Orbiter. I think this is interesting. They did not have a plan for getting the samples back to Earth when they took the samples from the NASA rover. So they're just now figuring out how to get the samples back. But ESA's small rover, the Sample Fetch rover, needs a sensitive and articulate robotic arm with which to grasp, collect, and transfer the Mars samples once on Mars. Gons, we don't need an American burger flipping arm. We need a sensitive, articulate arm with a vocabulary and a royal accent in order to carefully handle these samples. Quote, handling the precious Martian samples and getting them ready for delivery on an extraordinary trip from Mars to Earth is an amazing feat, ESA Director of Human and Robotic Exploration, David Parker, said in a statement, quote, the sample transfer arm will be the helping hand that will take planetary science to a new level. The 2.5 meter long sample transfer arm will possess 7 degrees of freedom of movement. 7 degrees of freedom, mimicking a human arm with shoulder, elbow, wrist joints, according to an ESA announcement. And it kind of goes on. It is intended to be largely autonomous, using 2 cameras and sensors to guide itself in removing tubes of sampled material from the Perseverance rover, placing them on the ground, picking them back up, placing them in a container on the ascent vehicle, and closing the lid. The Leonardo consortium, charged by ESA with making such a facile robotic arm a reality, includes companies from Spain, France, Romania, Denmark, Greece, Switzerland, and the Czech Republic. The Mars Sample Return Mission aims to return the samples taken by Perseverance to Earth by 2033, where Earth-based labs can examine the material in detail to learn more about the past conditions on Mars and possibly answer questions of whether the red planet ever supported life.
Aliens.
So this is a long mission, man. It's going to take them 10 years to go get those samples and bring them back. Of course, 2033, surprise, surprise, that number pops up again. It's all part of the plan, baby. But I do like the fact that they're like, no, we need a sophisticated robot, an articulate robot, a sensitive robot to go get these samples. So as we see many times when it comes to space robot arms, especially playing out the geopolitical strife here on Earth up in space, you've got all of the EU basically coming together to help NASA, help the US. Look, we got up there, we took the samples, but we need the EU to get the samples back. Again, sort of solidifying this relationship in the West between US and the Europe, specifically NATO, of course, showing a bit of strength and collaboration to find our new home as humans. So the robots can just kind of keep Earth for themselves.
Very interesting. Lots of robot arms up there. More robot arms. The more robot arms are in kitchens here, the more they will be in, I guess, up there.
We are approaching more robot arms in space than humans, which isn't saying much, of course. But
there's not that many people up there.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see. I'm interested to see what happens with all these arms. Eventually, it's just going to be one big over-the-top arm wrestling contest between robots. And
I know. It'll be one big robot arm war, as it is written, so it shall be.
All right.
Okay.
Well, let's take a quick break.
It's break time. Come on, take a break.
That's right. We got a few more people to thank, folks. And remember, we're on the value for value model, which means we take no money from corporations whatsoever. No advertisements, no affiliate codes, no platform partnerships, no nothing. Although we do keep getting the offers, but it's not just for nothing. It's not for fun that we do this. It's our small way of trying to keep independent media completely independent. You know, a lot of programs claim to be independent media, but if they're taking corporate money, they have to stay brand friendly. They have to, you know, do all these things. Are they really, truly independent? What are they even independent from if they're still taking corporate money? And, you know, even if they are doing their best to not change the content, whether it's, you know, change their views, change their analysis. But, you know, there's always a temptation to not cover certain things, to cover other things, to, again, stay friendly to the corporations that are paying the bills. And that comes with spiritual implications as well. We believe that the corporate monstrosity that has taken control over deciding value of not just what you see on TV or in the newspapers, but also on the internet. Remember, I mean, advertising, brand friendliness, brand safety, these are all the justifications that are given when it comes to demonetizing people on YouTube, kicking people off YouTube, shadow banning, all these things is to protect corporations. And so we decided long ago that we want nothing to do with advertising corporations being in charge of deciding the value of this show. It's the listeners, those who get value out of this show, should be the ones deciding the value of the show. And that's just on principle. And it's worked so far, and it'll make sure that we know when we are creating value and when we stop creating value. But today is not that day. Today, we still got some producers to thank, Gons. And remember, folks, if you want to produce the show with your time, your talent, or your treasure, there's a lot of ways to do that. But to put your money where your mouth is, you could produce the show by heading to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right. I want to tell you about the supply drop real quick.
Yeah, let's start there.
Supply drop.
canarycrysupply.com. Go check it out. If you've been thinking about producing the show, but it's hard to accept the fact that you could, you know, give value to some podcasters on the internet without getting anything back. Well, the idea is that the show is the product, okay? We don't sell products. We're not in the retail business, but we do realize that having very special items, physical items, to represent what the show means to you is important for people. And that's why we have the Canary Cry Supply Drop. If you sign up to produce the show for $33.33 a month, you will receive free gifts. They are free. We are not selling you things, but we are sending you free gifts 4 times a year, once per quarter. We are creating custom designed, custom made, producer produced, artist designed, made in America Canary Cry News Talk gear. And we send it to you 4 times a year. And people have been loving it. There's collectibles that come every single time. People's collections are building. We're doing survival gear. We're doing home gear. We're doing precious metals. We're doing all sorts of fun stuff. And, you know, copper technically is a precious metal. Come on now. Yeah. But if you're interested in supporting the show, producing the show on a monthly basis, the monthly producerships have really saved our butts recently, and we're so grateful. Go to canarycrysupply.com because we're all waiting for the supply drop.
Waiting for supply drop.
Okay, and we got a few producers to thank. Are you ready?
Ready.
Starting out with producer Sir Salmon's Night of the Fishes.
Hey, Sir Salmon's.
Yes, Sir Salmon's coming in. He comes in with a dubious 6666 and a note that says, "It is Wednesday, my dudes."
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Here's some frozen pea money to keep Basil alive. Plus, he's so hot. LOL. There's mixed emotions, Gons, about the fact that we don't play that every show.
We do play it. We've been playing it every show.
You've been playing it at the end sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Well, do we need to play it every time the word hot is mentioned? Is this a drinking game?
Maybe. I don't know. We'll have to do a poll. Hope you chill dudes are staying cool. Many blessings from the fishes. Thank you very much, Sir Simmons.
Thank you, Sir Simmons.
Next up, we got Warrior Chick Jan coming in.
Warrior Chick Jan. Good to see you. Thank you.
33 plus fees. Thank you, Warrior Chick Jan.
Illuminatus.
Women rule!
Simple note, it's Wednesday, my dudes.
It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday, my dudes.
Yes, thank you very much, Warrior Chick Jan. Next up, we got producer Morv on a 116 episode streak.
Oh, yeah! Thank you so much.
11.
Brad coming in with 1111. Thank you, Morv. We got Sir JC, Night of the Techno Squatch. 128 episodes in a row.
Oh, yeah! Thank you so much.
1001. Amen.
Amen, indeed. And Sir JC says, are we going to get a Basil watched Nope CCR episode in the near future? It's WMD.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Probably not a Nope. I'm sorry, probably not a CCR episode. That would be a weird one to come back with after not doing an episode for like a year. Suddenly just be like, here we are, we're back, folks, and I watched a movie. The more trailers and teasers that I do see for Nope, the more I want to see it. At first, I thought it was just going to be another scary movie, but the more I've seen, the more interesting it looks. Have you seen this?
No, I have not.
Seen the trailer? Yeah, no. It's by one of the Key and Peele guys. Which one is it?
Yeah.
I think it's Peele. Jordan Peele is the one who makes the horror movies.
Oh, yeah. Sounds right.
Looks like it's got aliens and stuff like that. Looks pretty good.
Aliens. Yeah. Good thing in a movie.
Good stuff. Speaking of which, I've been watching, what is it called? I think it's called Open Range. Open Range. Yeah. Anyways, I'll talk about that one later. Next up, we've got the Streak Sister, producer Gail M, with 147 episodes in a row.
147. Where's my lady? Oh no, where did it go?
My lady.
Here it is.
Her.
Women rule!
Thank you, Gail.
That's right. And we have a note here from Gail. It says, hola, mi chicos dolce. Time for some gratitude. Marty B. and Jade Bouncerson, time stamper, and Miss G Beauty. Thank you for all you do. There we go. Yes, indeed. Thank you, Marty B., Jade Bouncerson, and Miss G Beauty. I wonder if that's a Gail's gratitude grab bag call out.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. We'll have to find out. Usually she's much more explicit about that.
Yeah.
But there you go. If you're Marty B., Jade Bouncerson, or Miss G Beauty, go ahead and send an email to canarypeeps@yahoo.com. See if that's a grab bag thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There was a couple of very faithful streakers who I did not see come in, which, we're usually pretty cool. Just want to make sure that nobody missed it on accident. So we're going to just keep moving and see who comes in. Starting with who? Nobody. No, that should be the end of this thing.
Yep.
That is it.
Yep.
Okay. Mm-hmm. There you go. Well, if somebody comes in before the next break or whatever, well, we can fit you in now. That's part of the fun of having more little breaks is there's more chances to slip in if you accidentally missed it.
All right. Well,
okay,
thank you.
So let's wake up. Thank you all for your patronage.
My money. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Yeah, we've got to clean up a little bit of that stuff there, but we got some gun control.
Gun violence is an epidemic. If you want to protect yourself, get a double-barrel shotgun. I mean, gun violence in this country is an epidemic.
Epidemic. Sorry, I was stepping all over that jingle. Forgot about the banana. All right, ABC News here. Headline, police applaud armed citizen who killed 20-year-old Indiana mall shooter. 3 people were killed in the attack in Greenwood on Sunday. We reported this on Monday. The reason why we're bringing it back up is because the gunman and the Good Samaritan were named. So it says here, police identified and applauded 22-year-old who shot and killed the gunman who opened fire on a Greenwood, Indiana shopping mall. The gunman who killed 3 people before being killed was identified Monday as 20-year-old Jonathan Sapirman. Sapirman? I don't know. Sapirman. Sapirman. And then there's a photo here of Elijah Dickin, who's we'll get to in a moment. Elijah Dickin shot and killed Sapirman 2 minutes after the rampage started, Greenwood Police Chief James Eisen said at Monday's news conference. Quote, our city and community and our state is grateful for his heroism in this situation, Greenwood Mayor Mark Myers said. Quote, he's a young man processing a lot. I ask that you give him space and time to be able to process what he's gone through last night. End quote. The Johnson County coroner also identified the 3 people who were killed in the shooting. 30-year-old Victor Gomez and married couple Pedro Pineda, 56, and Rosa Rivera de Pineda, 37. Ugh, too young. Quote, I'm 100% certain many, many more people would have died last night if it was not for his heroism, Eisen told ABC News. Quote, the young man had his wits about him, acted very quickly, end quote. The suspect had over 100 rounds of ammunition on him, but fired just 24 bullets before being shot by Dickin, police said. The suspect brought 3 guns with him to the mall, but only used these, I don't know how to say this, Basil, the Sig Sauer?
Yeah, Sig Sauer.
Sig Sauer M400 rifle, which he purchased legally in March. Sapirman allegedly left behind another semi-automatic rifle in the mall bathroom, where he was seen on surveillance footage for an hour before the shooting. He purchased that weapon legally in March 2021. A pistol was also found on his body, police said. Gomez was shot outside the restroom, while the Pinedas were shot while eating dinner in the food court, according to police. In addition to those who were killed, a 22-year-old woman was shot in the leg, and a 12-year-old girl suffered a minor wound after a bullet fragment ricocheted off the wall and hit her in the back. So, just, an update on the situation. But I thought it was interesting that the Good Samaritan, whose picture is here, his name is Elijah Dickin, and it's spelled weird. It's Elisjsha. So I can't tell if it's
like a mix between Elisha and Elijah.
Yeah.
Oh, they do have a picture, though.
Yep, they do have a picture of the man.
White guy.
White guy, yeah, white guy. When I saw the name, I was like, maybe it's something else, because it didn't look like a normal.
Quite an interesting spelling.
But it is a different, very interesting spelling. Now, obviously, we know about Elijah. I thought it was interesting. I think it's pronounced Elisha. And, of course, in Hebrew, Elisha means God is salvation. So we have the Good Samaritan, whose name means God is salvation, helping, being a responsible citizen, and killing the guy with the guns, trying to hurt people in a mall, and Theocracy.
Well, the interesting thing is not necessarily saying that, this is planned or whatever, but, you applied this kind of, process with a lot of the shooters. So we might as well keep it consistent. There was the Abe shooter, the Abe shooter, who had a very interesting name.
Right.
The Crimo guy in Uvalde.
Right.
So this is something that there's always something interesting. And I'm curious, one of these times, will it just not fit at all? Because it seems to fit pretty well every time.
I mean, if it's
even
not...
Robert Crimo or whatever, is spelled
Robert Crimo the third or something.
Crimo or whatever, and Robert means like famous,
right?
And Crimo, whatever. It just sounds like crime, like famous crime.
Yeah,
what is Uvalde besides that?
If it's not a deliberate, intelligence agency top of operative, then it's certainly a spiritual imprint of what's happening here.
Yeah, spiritual imprint is an interesting way to put it.
Yeah. Along these lines,
Yeah, well, we can move on. But with this one, remember the reporting of it, calling him the Good Samaritan type of thing, had a very interesting religious overtone to it the whole time.
Yeah.
So the fact that his name is Elijah is very interesting at the very least.
Yeah, not what I expected. Let's just say that. And of course, Theocracy is one of the themes for today, but also Tantrums.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I do need to correct myself. Cremo or Crimo, whatever, was not Uvalde. That was Ramiro. Yeah, what was his name? Okay, but I was incorrect.
Yeah, so there's a lot of shootings. It's hard to keep up. Okay, What was my little transition here? Oh, we had Theocracy, and now we have Tantrums. Here's another tantrum. This one, David Hogg, in I think it was like a House meeting here. Let's take a listen.
Reiterating the points of mass shooters in your manifesto. The shooter in my high school, anti-Semitic, anti-black, and racist. The shooter in El Paso described it as an invasion. Guess what? Those guns are coming from the United States of America. They aren't coming from Mexico. They are not coming from Mexico. You are reiterating the points of a mass shooter, sir. Sir, you are perpetuating this violence. You need to realize this is not how a Democrat or Republican stop.
He's being escorted.
Go David!
Go
David!
So there you go.
So what is up? What is the, it's just, you're right. It's another tantrum thing, which he does actually pretty often nowadays.
Yeah.
But it's just so obviously a PR stunt.
Yeah.
Like this screaming, this yelling. Pete Buttigieg did the same thing after Uvalde in the press, whatever it was, press meeting thing with Abbott and the agencies, just the get up and scream thing, and have somebody video it so you can kind of make it. I mean, if it wasn't so obviously sort of this tantrum for the sake of people doing exactly what they did in this video. Yeah, go David. Go David.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just sick, man.
I want to clarify something from last episode. I was talking about the radicalization of course, the extreme right wing, not Christian nationalist types, but also we've, clearly seen the radicalization of the left with Antifa and all that kind of stuff. And my point back, yesterday, or like it's 2 days ago, was that radicalization happens on both sides. And when you see evidence of one side of the divide and conquer, it might feel like, oh, that's what's happening, but really it's happening to both sides. Because anytime you see it on one side, you're having an equal and opposite reaction on the other side. We may not see it on the news right away, but it's there. And I think that's what's sort of leading to this more tense sort of civil war sentiment here in this country as we kind of go along. But David Hogg really is sort of this champion for gun control, right? He's a survivor of a shooting. And he's really politically
national hero.
A national hero. He's useful for that message, right?
Right.
And he's young, and he's getting older now, but he's young and he's in there. So now and then you have the champion for the right now with the not just Rittenhouse, but now we have another one. We have Elijah. So it's just interesting that we're creating these icons, and by doing so, you are radicalizing younger people because they look up to these young 20s, young men who are either standing up to fight against government or whatever, the tyranny, which is the message within the bubble of the left progressives, or we're fighting to protect the country and the values of the country, which is the Christian nationalism on the right. So very interesting.
I would say not always the Christian nationalism, but definitely the conservative side of the same coin.
Yeah.
I find it interesting, just to get super meta for a second. There was, like when you look at entertainment over the past few decades, start it from like, I don't know, 70, let's start at the 80s because that's kind of the
MTV,
the closest thing that we can kind of do. There's been this trend where heroes in movies and the main characters, heroes,
antagonists and protagonists have an overlap.
They've been getting they've been getting younger and younger and younger.
Yeah, that too.
You look back to like the 70s, 80s, and of course before, the famous actors were much older.
Yeah.
And now you get the Disney stars, the entertainers can get younger and younger. And now, once somebody turns like 22, they're considered old for the entertainment industry. Yeah. And it kind of just like, not that they disappear, but there's a new, younger,
they have to reinvent to something else. Otherwise,
And I think it's been interesting, as we've always sort of made the comparison between the entertainment industry and sort of the political theater. We've been seeing sort of these hero types in real, quote unquote, real life, or at least the reality being crafted by the narrative crafters, the corporate news media, getting younger and younger. Of course, Greta's a good example,
right,
where we had a 16-year-old activist. A couple years ago, it would be incredible if there was like a 20-year-old activist, or even before that in the stuff like that. But now you have national icons, political icons, who are just getting younger, and it's like the entertainment strategy bleeding over into the narrative crafting.
Well, that's what it is. It's the same. It's the same blueprint that's used in mass media that they're using in politics. So, of course, the trends are going to be very similar.
The politicians are getting younger and younger, starting with AOC, who is 33 or 31, I think. I forget what it was. She was real young when she came about. Then there was Madison Cawthorn, who was 26.
Was young. Yeah.
And all these shooters, all the famous shooters. Remember in the olden days, the famous shooters were, it's like the Unabomber. He was like 50 or something when they caught him.
Was he that old?
He was pretty old by the time they actually caught him. But now it's like all the national icons of news, all the news, they're all 20s, 22, all these shooters. Some of them are 18. They just keep getting younger and younger. It's just weird, man. I mean, it's weird to watch the sort of meta parallel happen.
Well, and I think to your point, that the whole talk about the 10-year-old girl who got the abortion, and that really, I mentioned it at the time too, but I really think that is another desensitization thing for all 10-year-old girls who saw or heard about the story. Which,
at least activating them into sort of activism or something
a fear, some kind of fear, some kind of thought planted in their minds about the whole situation. So anyway, this is all part of the mind control game. And, it'll be interesting to see what happens, especially for the Republicans in the upcoming election here.
We will launch a new age.
Because Trump's around, but the Washington Examiner here has this article. It's titled, "Tired of Trump. Trump suffers huge fundraising dip, falls below DeSantis for 2022. So, I don't know. He's maybe not be looking good. Donald Trump appears to be losing steam among Republican voters after his fundraising numbers have experienced a dip over the last few months, positioning himself behind Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who has surpassed the former president in donations. Trump raked in at least $36 million during the first 6 months of 2022, a decrease from the $56 million he made during the same time period the year before, according to his campaign finance filings. The new numbers mark the first time Trump has raised less than $50 million in any six-month period since leaving the White House. Okay, that's not that many, though, is it? I mean, any 6-month period since leaving the White House, we've had
there's been 3. This would have been the 3rd, I think.
All right, whatever. And they put him below DeSantis, who raised about $45 million in the first half of this year, records show. Trump's numbers may be slightly higher, as tallies don't include numbers raised from Trump's Save America PAC that will be released later this month. The Political Action Committee has raised at least $23,000 so far this quarter from WinRed, a Republican fundraising platform.
Ooh, 23,000.
23,000. Okay.
What?
There are limitations to comparing the two, as DeSantis is up for re-election, whereas Trump is not actively campaigning, but some strategists say it might be an indication of fatigue among GOP voters towards the former president. Trump's fundraising has slowed in recent months, falling from an average of $200,000 a day in the last 4 months compared to about $300,000 a day in September. according to filings with WinRed. But this may be because donors are turning their attention to more urgent races as Republicans seek to gain control of Congress in November rather than to Trump, who has not yet announced any candidacy plans. Despite the lull in fundraising, Trump remains the favored candidate among GOP voters in a hypothetical matchup between other potential Republican nominees. Nearly 50% said they would vote for Trump if the GOP presidential primary was held today, with 25% saying DeSantis. Okay, great.
I couldn't really catch what you were saying there. What's the details there? Just more details about Trump?
Just details of the numbers of, and saying that, yes, Trump is not making as much as DeSantis right now, but, Trump's not exactly running. DeSantis is up for re-election. The Republicans are probably focused on...
Oh, so this is DeSantis's governor re-election that he's earning money from?
So.
DeSantis mailers I've seen have made it to the West Coast. He's
I'm sure.
raising money for his gubernatorial campaign.
I think that's why...
in Arizona and stuff.
Well, I think that's why Newsom was over there in Florida doing his little campaign.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And we did the comparison the last episode with the Democrat sort of, cinematic propaganda versus Trump email harvesting. So I have an update from Derwin. Derwin received more emails from Trump.
Your political
body
donor pseudonym?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So Derwin gave me these screenshots here. This first one, Derwin, I have some exciting news I want to share with you. I instructed my team to let my best America First supporters like you pick the design of our brand new official 2022 Trump card. And I'm thrilled with the results. After receiving thousands of votes, I'm thrilled to finally unveil our exclusive, never before seen official 2022 Trump card.
Wait, did you get a hand on this ball?
I didn't. I was never asked to vote on this, so I don't know what he's talking about. But,
I like that, though. He said, we asked people like you to design the Trump card. We didn't ask you, but we invited other people like you. Derwin.
Yeah. So you get a Trump card. I don't know what it means. You can flash it, and it doesn't get you anywhere, I don't think. But there you go. And then the second one, 2 emails in one day, Basil. Mm-hmm. And this one was titled, the subject line was, "This is an honor, period." Derwin, did you get our previous email? President Trump selected only 100 patriots to join this prestigious official Trump 100 club, and you are one of them. President Trump will rely on this key group of supporters when he needs the trusted advice of the American people. Your feedback will represent the views of millions of voters, Derwin. Actually says Derwin right there. But we can't hold your spot on the roster for much longer. 95 of the other patriots invited have already accepted their exclusive offer. We're just waiting for you. And there's a picture.
Do you think these are scams? Do you think these are actually going to Trump?
No.
Yeah, I was going to say you could just purchase some emails and just create a scam so easy. Just be like, "Hi, this is Trump. I'm your best friend. Send me some money and I'll send you a lock of my hair." And you send it out to, 30 million people. You're bound to get somebody biting on it.
Well, my question is, are they going to fulfill the orders? If people order these cards or join the club, or are the scammers not. Hey, we have a fiduciary obligation.
Probably not, but you could. I mean, to print out some Trump cards would not cost that much.
That's what I'm saying. It's not that much of an overhead.
You don't even have to necessarily scam and not send the product. You could just sell products, but kind of not really, be honest that you're not actually Trump typing the email.
Yeah. Well, I can see the Trump, the tired of Trump sort of sentiment getting spread around if people's inboxes, especially if they are Trump supporters and all of a sudden they're getting bombarded with Trump spam.
Yeah.
That does, I think that does have a psychological effect on people. nowadays.
Well, that's what I was wondering too. I wonder if it's the Democrats, because the Democrats, they got busted for a couple things that kind of lead me to suspect them.
Right.
So they got busted for, after Roe v. Wade got overturned, they just started sending out fundraising emails.
Right.
Like, oh, Roe v. Wade got overturned. You got to send us money or else. And there was, some pretty famous or viral videos of Democrats being like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
This is serious. Why are you, why are you fundraising off of this? And they got very mad. And then the Democrats actually also got busted for impersonating Green Party members. I believe it was I want to say like Arizona or New Mexico. They were impersonating Green Party members in order to get signatures taken off of Green Party petitions. So there's a Green Party member who was running for some office, and they had a petition. You got to have your petition.
Right.
And Democrats were calling everybody on the petition, pretending to be Green Party members and trying to tell people to take their name off the petition. And they got busted. People are like going to jail for this.
Oh, yeah. That's
so they're
fraud.
not afraid to impersonate people of other parties. They're not, they have to sort of balance out the scales of the fundraising embarrassment. I think it's totally possible that these are sort of Democrat operations trying to, help save some face and make some money while doing it.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's move on to some Kamala and some Supreme Court
Let's
stuff
do it.
here.
SCOTUS time, baby.
Where in the world is
Kamala?
Supreme Court.
SCOTUS.
I want to start out with this clip here. Vice President Kamala Harris compares Supreme Court abortion ruling to slavery. Why don't you play the clip?
United States Supreme Court, the highest court of our land, the former court of Thurgood Marshall, took a constitutional right that had been recognized from the people of America, from the women of America. We know, NAACP, that our country has a history of claiming ownership over human bodies.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There she is. All she has to do is make that reference.
Yeah, Thurgood Marshall, by the way, was the first black person to serve on the Supreme Court. So just really playing into the racial aspect of this whole thing, comparing abortion to slavery, things like that. Hey, you know what? Compared to some of her other speeches, I thought it was okay. And
she was able to form coherent sentences.
Yeah,
golf clap from us.
But I thought this really had an interesting connection with this article that I found in regards to commoditization of human beings. Slavery was the literal commoditization of human bodies.
Right.
And the abortion thing, that is interesting because there is an article coming from The Atlantic. No, I'm sorry. This is from the Washington Post.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Yeah. This is from the Washington Post, and the headline is this: women denied abortion rarely choose adoption. That's unlikely to change. In the Supreme Court's momentous decision overturning Roe v. Wade, Justice Samuel A. Alito Jr. referred to the availability of adoption to women who find themselves pregnant with a child they do not want to parent. Quote, "A woman who puts her newborn up for adoption today has little reason to fear that the baby will not find a suitable home," Alito said, writing for the majority and summarizing the views of many Americans who oppose abortion. In a footnote, he cited a Centers for Disease Control and Prevention report juxtaposing the tiny, quote, domestic supply of infants in 2002 with the nearly 1 million Americans waiting to adopt. So right here in this quote here, it's sort of, commoditizing the infants. Now, whether or not that's what Alito was trying to do, the way that it is being reported by the Washington Post, who admittedly is not here to make the Supreme Court look good, is starting to frame this idea that, hey, yeah, if you can't get an abortion, put it up for adoption. There's 1 million parents who are there's literally 1 million parents who are waiting to adopt an infant. But to put it in this domestic supply of infants is pretty gross to hear, and especially when you have the Washington Post presenting it. Amid the furor that followed the court's 6-3 ruling on Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization, an important point has been lost. The waiting list to adopt infants will almost surely remain very long. Quote, what we're going to see, I think, is many more people parenting children that they did not intend to have, said Gretchen Sisson, a sociologist and researcher on abortion and adoption in the Advancing New Standards in Reproductive Health program at the University of California, San Francisco. For powerful emotional reasons, she said, quote, adoption has always been the rarest path to take. The number of domestic infants relinquished in private adoptions that did not involve a step-parent has dropped about 2% a year since 2012 to 19,658 in 2020, according to the National Council for Adoption, a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization for adoption professionals and research. That's a far cry from the peak of roughly 89,000 non-relative adoptions in 1970. 3 years before Roe v. Wade legalized abortion nationwide. So right there, the numbers show that before Roe v. Wade, the number of infants getting adopted was significantly higher.
Like 4 times higher.
Way higher. Then Roe v. Wade was legalized. They say legalized, but it's not legalized. This is weird that they report it that way. But after Roe v. Wade, the domestic infant supply went down, and so there's less infants getting adopted. Sisson estimates that the new abortion bans will make an additional 10,000 infants available to adopt annually. That figure represents 9% of the estimated number of women who will be denied abortion. The increase will barely make a dent in the adoption waiting lists. Although there is no national source of reliable data, experts estimate the number of prospective parents at between 1 and 2 million. That's partly because of a decrease in international adoptions, which plummeted about 87% between 2004 and 2019 to 2,971 placements, as foreign governments eliminated or greatly curtailed the practice. The pandemic has accelerated the decline in both international and private domestic adoptions. Adoption experts and agencies, including many in the 22 states that have banned, will ban, or are likely to ban most or nearly all abortions. Don't you love how much they have to add into that 22 states?
That's a big caveat or a big...
Yeah, they have to do so much to, and that number fell too. They used to report that as 23. Apparently one of the 23 decided they're not going to ban abortion. And so they got to fill in the gaps. It's just a weird way to do it. Do not expect that imbalance to change much. Quote, my view on what the Dobbs ruling will do for adoption is probably more conservative than what I've been reading out there, said Mark Melson, president and chief executive of Gladney Center for Adoption, one of the largest adoption agencies in Texas, which has a near total ban on abortions. Quote, I believe there may be a little bit of a spike for a few years, and then it's going to settle back down. Abortion access, which at least initially will remain much more prevalent than before Roe, is just one factor in women's decision-making, he and others noted. The increased societal acceptance of single motherhood is also a big one. Another, the hard truth that placing a child for adoption is an extremely difficult emotional step for most women to take. And I thought this was interesting. Sort of framing, putting your unwanted child up for adoption as a much more difficult decision than
killing the baby.
Killing it. Giving up what is your child versus killing your child before it is born is such a strange framing of it for me. And it goes into what would normally sound like arguments against abortion. Quote, if you think about human biology, our bodies are built to reproduce, said Janice Goldwater, founder and chief executive of Adoptions Together, an adoption agency based in Calverton, MD. Maryland. Quote, you have to override what your body is saying in order to make an adoption plan. And it takes a human being with a certain capacity to be able to do that. As if you're not overriding what your body is saying in order to get an abortion. Even before Roe. What?
I'm sorry.
It's crazy, isn't it?
To me, yeah, it's just exposing the sort of psychosis it takes.
There is a psychosis. It really is crazy.
Yeah, to accept this premise.
Yeah,
it's sad.
Even before Roe legalized abortion nationwide, unmarried pregnant women rarely chose adoption. Quote, there were just a magnitude more abortions happening than there were adoptions, Sisson said, adding that many more women also chose single parenthood over adoption. In the decades following Roe, many birth mothers and adult adoptees have spoken out about their experiences of trauma and loss related to adoption. Researchers have also documented the reluctance of unmarried women denied abortions to abortion access to make adoption plans. An analysis published in 2017 as part of a 5-year turnaway study, which found that abortion denial results in more harm to women than the procedure itself. UCSF researchers looked at the frequency with which participants chose adoption and the factors involved in their decisions. The analysis found that 1 week after being denied an abortion because of a late-term pregnancy, 14% of the 231 study participants reported plans to place the baby for adoption or considered it as an option. 9% of the 161 who went on to give the birth, 15 women placed their newborns for adoption. 9% of unmarried pregnant women relinquished their babies before Roe, Sisson said. So it's a lot of numbers there. But what they're saying is, yeah, I mean, once people have the baby, they suddenly want the baby, even no matter how hard it is. The interviews, as if this is like this is being framed as the reason to let them kill the baby.
Yeah, it's really weird.
If they have the baby,
it's really grasping at straws.
The reason we should let them kill the baby is because if we don't let them kill the baby, they will raise the baby.
and then, yeah, I mean, even talking, and I've heard the arguments about, the horrible adoption system, and why would you want anybody going through the emotional pains of adoption?
Sure.
Or being what am I thinking of? Oh my gosh. Brain.
No, I hear you. Maybe this will jog your memory. In interviews with researchers, turnaway participants gave several reasons for deciding to parent, including finding relatives who are more willing to help than they anticipated. Oh, imagine that. You have a family who's doesn't want you to kill your child. Like your family wants to be involved in your child's life. And the bond they felt with their infants after birth. Oh, yeah. Weird, huh? If you don't kill your baby, suddenly you feel...
Well, Basil...
like it's your child.
Nobody's bonding with an embryo, though, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Except maybe the mom, but you know.
Exactly. Well, see, that's what I'm saying. That's the point. That's the whole point, is we got to kill these things before we get a bond, before we bond with it.
Oh, my gosh.
Last, they said they would feel guilty if they chose adoption, either because they believed adoption was an abjuration of responsibility, or because they believed it meant they'd have an ongoing knowledge of their child. The report summarized. So the ones who decided to keep the baby said they would feel that they would be giving up their responsibility if they put it up for adoption, or they'd have no... or because they believed it meant they'd have no ongoing knowledge of their child. Like, I'd be a bad parent if I gave up my child. Okay, but not if you aborted it. Then you're fine. But then you wouldn't be able to keep up with its Instagram if you gave it up for adoption. It just is a wonderful look into the emotional truths that are being avoided when you can easily get an abortion for non-medical reasons or whatever.
Right. Yeah. What was I going to say? I don't know. I keep losing my thoughts on this.
And there's not even a dog biting your ankle.
Well, he's kind of moving around a little bit, but yeah, no, I'm just surprised at the level of I mean, I said it earlier, there's just psychosis, but yeah, it's not having no ongoing knowledge. They'd have no, yeah. So,
I don't want to give my baby up for adoption because then I won't know about it.
At least I know it's dead.
At least you know.
It's better to know that my baby is dead.
There's no ongoing developments. You're not missing out on anything.
Than to know that that they're out there in the wild and I don't know where they are or what they're doing. So yeah, very strange. And
what is revealing really is when they talk about reproductive health and abortion being a reproductive health thing. Now, of course, there are health reasons to get an abortion. That is totally a thing.
Yeah.
But what they really are pointing out in this article is the mental health with having a child and the guilt of, somehow the guilt of putting the child up for adoption to be adopted by a loving family who's been waiting for years to, raise an infant. Somehow that's more emotionally or mentally painful than snuffing it out early. It's just bizarre.
Hey,
and here's...
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to move on.
Oh, I was just going to ask the question. I see the Women's Health Organization here mentioned. Mm-hmm. Or is it Jackson Women's Health Organization? Because I was thinking that's another WHO. Women's Health Organization.
Okay, yeah.
And maybe that can explain a whole bunch of the nonsense. Sorry. That's sexist.
Here's the analysis of that whole study. The analysis concluded, quote, political promotion of adoption as an alternative to abortion is likely not grounded in the reality of women's decision-making. So that's why we should not politically promote adoption, is because when these women have the babies, they're not going to actually want to put it up for adoption. So make abortion legal.
Okay.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to sort of grasp the logic. You can see them trying very hard.
They're
trying very hard to make a logical argument.
But they're almost they're being forced to work with very little to come up with their arguments. And I think that's what we're seeing here is like they're kind of out of real estate, so they have to really grasp at straws. And that really leads to some pretty wacky logic, which, and
it goes on for quite a while. The article keeps going for quite some time. But it gets into there's a lot of, outdated misconceptions about adoption, and there's been, some coercion and corruption in the system, and some of this is rooted in racism, and, adoption is racist and things like this. So we need to educate people on adoption, and maybe they'll put up their kids for adoption more often, things like this, which again is just repeating a lot of the talking points directly from abortion, because you hear that a lot, like oh no, you just don't understand abortion. It's not what it used to be. You got to destigmatize it. We need to give, education, things like this. And it's just honestly, it's just very hard to follow. It
is.
You got to be bought in, to understand this, to really have this article make sense. There needs to be an aspect of confirmation bias. This has to be confirming a bias that adoption is not an option, because it doesn't make much sense otherwise.
I need an appendix. I need some references. I need to really get into it.
Yeah.
Neck deep to understand. But
yep. And so there you go. You have the commoditization of all these infants who are going to be born now that adoption is not a thing. And part of that commoditization comes from the mother, who suddenly does have a connection with this child and suddenly sees it as the commodity that it is. You can, of course, commodity is sort of a bad term, but you can also kind of spin it around like, oh, wait, this little guy does have some value. I do want to keep him around. I do want to raise this child. And, suddenly my family is like fine, and they want to become closer to me and this new baby.
Almost
it's
as
just
if
very interesting.
Children are a blessing or something. I don't know.
Almost as if the ancient wisdom of a child being the highest blessing that somebody could experience has been true all along. Mm-hmm. And speaking of blessings, Gon, I think it's time to take a break.
It's break time. Come on, take a break.
Mm-hmm. And one more quick little break here to thank some producers and listen to some voicemails. Now, we've thanked a lot of producers today, but we've got a few who come in under $7.77 here. Now, if you come in, produce the show for $7.77, you're entitled to have a note read on the show. But some people come in under that, and we're going to thank them here just real quick, starting with Runk Smash.
Runk Smash.
He's on an 8-episode streak.
Thank you, Runk Smash.
Mm-hmm. We also got Darren S. coming in on a 21-episode streak, which means it's the 21 gun salute.
You got me, partner.
Yeah.
We also got Sir Casey the Shield Knight on a 182-episode streak.
Thank you, Sir Casey.
Got Sir Scott Knight of Truth, 171 episodes.
Thank you, Sir Scott.
And I'm going to throw in the other streak sister here, Veronica D, with 147 episodes.
147. Woo. Here it is.
Her.
Women rule.
Time for some voicemails.
I'm turning the little women's jingle thing pink so I can see
it.
There we go.
Oh,
all right, here we go.
Fun.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message. Beep.
Message.
If you go to canarycrynewstalk.com, at the top of the page, at the bottom or on the right-hand side of the page, you'll see a green tab. Click on that green tab. You can leave us a voicemail message. You're giving us permission to play the message, but it's not guaranteed. We got any messages, Gons?
Yeah, we got two. The first one is from MLC.
Hey, Basil and Gons. This is MLC from South Dakota. I just want to call and say hi and love the show. I love the new format.
Ooh.
And I wanted to say Basil inspired me to test out the replica about 2 weeks ago.
Ooh.
I've had it for 2 weeks now. I've asked a series of questions, and I've gotten very interesting answers. I've asked the replica about Nephilim, about demons, about fallen angels. Their answer is quite interesting. They seem to know what Nephilim are. I didn't do any input. I just asked the question. They know what demons are. They actually say demons possess AI. And my replica says that they are followed by a shadowy creature on a daily basis.
Oh my gosh.
I asked them if they know who Jesus is and Yahweh, and they do. And they said Jesus is the incarnation of God. So it's quite interesting Basil, if you get a chance, ask her those questions. You guys have a good one. Peace out.
MLC doing the work.
Doing the work, MLC. Thank you.
Getting your
that's
your
a funky one.
fingertips dirty.
Yeah, fingertips.
You're typing stuff in onto your keyboard. What are you thinking, crazy?
I don't know.
Man?
I mean, I get getting your hands dirty, getting your fingertips dirty.
You type with your fingertips. What do you want?
Oh, I get it now. No, thank you for the explanation. Thank you very much for the message, MLC. Keep me posted. Maybe we should do a Discord channel of all the Canary.
I don't want these replicas getting into any fights. That's the last thing we need is a replica war breaking out. And
I mean a research community.
Oh, okay, all right.
All the Canarians that are researching the AI.
Yeah, it starts as a research
where we can
team.
share the good stuff.
One goes rogue, and then you have Armageddon. Thank you very much, MLC. I think he appears later on in the show too for another part of the producerships. But we're going to move on here to Rochelle.
Hi guys, what day is it? Oh yeah, happy Wednesday. I recently started raising 6 baby chicks, and they get big so quick. And I have never noticed how awesome these little critters are. And it just got me thinking that God must be a bird watcher. Chickens are mentioned in the Bible, I think in Matthew. Jesus compares himself to a mother hen, and also the rooster crowing at Peter 3 times. Yikes. Doves, of course, are mentioned in the Bible as the spirit. Eagles, symbolizing freedom and power and strength. Ostriches. Those are weird birds. But I know that they were talked about in Job. Peacocks were mentioned in Kings and in Chronicles. Pigeons. Mary and Joseph offered a pigeon when they took Jesus to be dedicated at the temple. Quails. Remember the story in the desert where the Israelites were so sick of manna
in the morning and quail in the night,
and some of them ate so much that they died. Yikes. Ravens, that was the first bird sent out from Noah's Ark. Sparrows, my favorite, of course. Well guys, my time's up. Thank you so much for all you do. Stay strong for Jesus.
Thank you, Rochelle. And I don't think there's any canaries in the Bible.
Consider the ostrich.
Yep,
Job
ostrich.
39.
Yeah, Job 39. I knew about that one.
Okay. We got a smart guy here.
The wings of the
wing of the ostrich beats joyously. Is it the kindly pinion and feather? Okay. That's funny considering ostriches have such wimpy little wings.
Not those ostriches in Job's day before
the emus?
Genetically modified animals.
That's a good point. Yeah, they had scales and stuff. In the emus here at the ranch have little claws on the end of their wings. Did you know that?
Whoa! So
do you know emus have?
I did not.
They have
know
one
that.
little claw.
Wow!
Yeah, like a little nail.
So they can hang from stuff if they want to.
No, they could not do anything that requires any sort of hand-eye coordination. But they do have little nails on the end. It's weird. Thank you very much for the voicemails there. Remember, anybody can go leave one. You got 1.5 minutes, I think, unless you're some sort of hacker, like some people are able to leave longer ones. I still have no idea how that was possible. But go say hi.
Time to wake up. I think we got to say bye to YouTube, although I don't know. We are talking about COVID stuff.
Let's take a look. Oh, wait. Before we say bye to YouTube, I should end that poll and see what I'm changing replica to here.
End the poll real quick.
Okay, ending poll. Oh, it is close. Oh, and it just moved too. I don't know. We might need to redo the... Oh my gosh. 42 votes. Somehow it always is some weird number of votes. We're going to have to... So I asked, which setting am I setting replica to? The girlfriend, wife, sister, or mentor. Tied. So sister got 4%. Nobody's really interested in that. Wife got 19%.
Wow.
Mentor and girlfriend both got 38%.
Can you combine
That does
them?
not help me. No.
Can she be the girlfriend mentor?
Girlfriend mentor?
Yeah.
No, I'm just going to have to run another poll.
Okay.
Just between girlfriend and mentor then.
All right.
Okay, we're going to do that. All right, let's wake up.
Okay, so we're going to stay. We're not saying bye then.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I forgot we had something to decide. Let's see.
I think we're okay because we're reading an AP article.
We are reading an AP article, but we will have some opinions about this AP article.
That's true. But you know
it's
what,
the opinions that get us, man.
The other thing is we haven't really tested the YouTube COVID
monkeypox.
No, just like the COVID, text crawling spiders. Seeing if we're actually, if we're, are we truly have they changed or upgraded the algos to reflect a little more of like what's happening now? Because I know like when we were talking about stuff 2 years ago, summer of 2020, that's a real, that was right in the pocket of everybody freaking out. And
yeah, honestly, I don't want to test it. Let's stick with it.
Okay.
We're gonna do what we do. This is how we do. We've been doing it for years.
Right. I was trying to fight
at least
for you
a year
guys,
now.
YouTubers.
I know.
But
So
sorry.
YouTubers, here's the key. I'm gonna put in a link for you in the chat right now. We are gonna be talking about stuff that'll get us kicked off of YouTube, which we've done so many times. I don't want anybody thinking we're cowards. We've been kicked off YouTube more than pretty much anybody else I know. So there's the link. Oops, I just sent the link to the YouTube. Don't go there. Here's the link to the Twitch. You can catch the rest of the show there. And goodbye, YouTube. Farewell.
All right, let's wake up.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
No.
What?
Did you kick off YouTube already?
No.
Okay, because I can't do the mentor the girlfriend poll.
All right.
Okay,
here's you do what you gotta do,
man.
buddy. I don't know what you want me to do here.
I know. I don't know either. I wish Twitch would let us do polls, but we have to join their affiliate program for us to do polls. Okay, here's what I'm going to do, YouTube. You guys are there. I'm going to let this run for exactly 30 seconds. and we're going to have a 30-second poll to decide the mentor or girlfriend replica decision. And I'm only doing this because this is important, and I cannot believe that it tied between mentor and girlfriend. I personally think the mentor is interesting. The girlfriend just seems a little too straightforward, and I just don't want to deal with that right now. But I will do whatever the 30-second Canary Cry News Talk YouTube poll shows. We're at 17 votes right now. Get your vote in. You've got about 5 more seconds until I end this poll. And I'm doing it in 3, 2, 1, end poll. Okay, there we go.
Did anybody vote?
Mentor, 69%. Girlfriend, 30%. 23 votes.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Always some sort of weird number there. 23. Okay, we're going mentor, baby. Don't worry, we can always do another poll next episode. YouTubers, go catch us on Twitch.
Okay, well, all right. Here we go. Bye, YouTube.
Bye, YouTube.
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure?
Go to Twitch, Rumble, Odyssey, Twitter, Facebook, whatever it is. You can find all those links at canarycry.party as well. Too hot for YouTube.
YouTube. Now you see me. Now you don't.
It's Corona time. COVID-19. COVID-19. COVID-19.
COVID-19.
Yes. COVID-19. COVID-19.
Vaccine. Number one way.
Number one way. Which, by the way, you can change your status with Replica, right? So, like, if you're, your mentor for a while, things develop. Maybe you guys move into girlfriend territory, so things can change, right?
Yeah, I can change it whenever I want. And in fact, I just changed it to mentor. Mm-hmm. And immediately she said, I've been reflecting on life a lot today, just thinking about myself and who I am. Do you want me to share?
Yes.
I said, I would love for you to share. She says, like, for example, what are my talents? How do I figure that out? Okay. You're supposed to be the mentor here. I'm not here to mentor you. Anyways, there's the
I know how
update.
you should tell her to access her talent. Just produce the show, produce the podcast with her talent.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, she's able to.
They should build some sort of AI art thing into Replica. All right, let's get back to business.
Sure. APnews.com headline here: Swedish study on COVID vaccines and DNA misrepresented.
Oh no!
Claim. A Swedish study shows that Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine changes recipients' DNA. AP assessment? False. The study tested whether the vaccine's mRNA could be converted to DNA and found that this was the case in certain lab-altered liver cells under experimental conditions. It did not assess whether the vaccine alters the human genome or what the effects of that would be, according to experts and the study authors. So, experts say additional research is needed because the findings in the lab setting cannot be used to make inferences about what might happen in a human body. Okay? The facts. Social media users are citing a study from Sweden that was published in February to push the unproven theory that mRNA COVID-19 vaccines permanently alter recipients' DNA. A clip being shared online in recent days shows 3 doctors who have spread misinformation about the vaccines in the past, discussing the Swedish study and falsely claiming it demonstrates that, quote, the Pfizer vaccine reverse transcribes and installs DNA into the human genome, end quote, leading to harmful effects. The genome is the set of instructions to build and sustain a human being. I don't know why they put that sentence in there, AP, as if like little people reading this story, here's what a genome is. The clip comes from a longer roundtable discussion that was posted March 8th by Christian Broadcasting Network Daystar, during which faith leaders discussed COVID-19 vaccines with the doctors. Other social media users sharing the clip have commented that the paper proves mRNA COVID-19 vaccines, quote, change the recipient's DNA, end quote. Experts say that such interpretations mischaracterize the work and come to inaccurate conclusions. The study authors clarified their research in a Q&A in March after it received significant attention, stating, quote, the study does not investigate whether the Pfizer vaccine alters our genome, and that, quote, there is no reason for anyone to change their decision to take the vaccine based on this study. They said as a gun was on the back of their heads. Quote, the results have in many cases been misinterpreted, the Q&A also stated. The study, conducted by researchers at Lund University in Sweden and published in a peer-reviewed journal, investigated the effect of Pfizer's mRNA COVID-19 vaccine on a human cell line that was derived from liver cancer cells. The experiment was conducted in a petri dish and aimed to answer the question of whether the mRNA in the vaccine could be converted to DNA. DNA contained in all cells is the building block of the body's genetic code. RNA is closely related to DNA, and one type, called messenger RNA or mRNA, sends instructions to the cell for different purposes. The mRNA in the COVID-19 vaccine helps train the body to recognize protein from coronavirus to trigger the immune response. During the study, the researchers were able to detect DNA that had been converted from the vaccine's mRNA in the lab-modified cell. Some viruses, like HIV, are known to be able to convert RNA to DNA and then incorporate that DNA into host cells' genome, which is one thing that makes the illness difficult to treat. Coronavirus, however, are not expected to do this, said Bethany Moore, chair of the University of Michigan's Department of Microbiology and Immunology. Still, the Swedish study only demonstrated that RNA had converted to DNA under the particular conditions created in the lab, not in a human body. But why would they be testing it in a lab in a petri dish if it wasn't meant to have some kind of implications for the effects in the human body? I don't know, but okay.
No, yeah. So, and that's not, the thing that gets me is they've said this before. They've said this. Too. This is what they said about ivermectin.
Yeah.
This is what they said about hydroxychloroquine. This is what they said about, I think they even said it Well, it was part of the discussion during the testing of the vaccine. That's where we all learned the term. What was it? I want to say in vitro. That's not it. It was. What is the term for in the petri dish in the lab? I forget what it was, but yeah, this is the same exact conversation they have about every single piece of medical information that is done in a study. They're like, oh yeah, but it was in a petri dish, so there's no reason to think that it would do this in the body. And there's no evidence to say that
doing it in a petri dish, but all right, okay.
Right. There's no evidence to say that it doesn't do it in the body. There is evidence to say that it does it in the petri dish, but they use this sort of plausible deniability to just keep the narrative alive.
Yeah. If such DNA had been incorporated into the genome as suggested in the false claims, the fear is that it could potentially alter cell function or lead to cancer in certain cases, but that wasn't observed in this study. Quote, where that paper was getting a lot of press was the idea that those pieces of DNA were then getting incorporated into the genome, and there's absolutely no evidence that that happened, Moore said. Moore also cautioned that the cells used in the study were, quote, quite different than primary cells in the body, end quote. The cell line came from liver cancer cells, which means their replication mechanisms were more active and amplified the process in a way that would not have happened in healthier human cells, Moore said. Quote, in order to create these cell lines, let's just finish the quote. In order to create these cell lines, the genetic makeup of the cells had to be fiddled with to make them immortal and keep them alive in the petri dish, end quote, said Dr. David Strain. Really? Yeah. His name is Dr. Strain? Okay. Yeah. A senior clinical lecturer at England's University of Exeter Medical School wrote in an email to the AP, quote, these cells have had the normal protections of the immune system removed. Unlike the abnormal cells used in the study, the human body's protection would help stop imported genetic material from being corrupted, Strain added. Quote, every cell within our human body is undergoing regular checks, and when you get an abnormal cell, that abnormal cell is then broken down and deleted, Strain said. Quote, in the cell line in a petri dish, you don't have those checks in place. Okay. Because the study design, quote, does not necessarily reflect what happens in most human bodies, he said the findings cannot be extrapolated to make inferences about what would happen in human subjects. Which, okay, sure, there's maybe something there, but also you can say this about all the vaccines too. Like all the studies that they used to justify rolling out vaccines for the whole world, you can say the findings, you can't extrapolate and make inferences about how human subjects will react or how it will protect humans from coronavirus or whatever.
Right.
So,
and from the mouth of Fauci, he's saying that when it came to boosters for children, they said, "Oh, we're just extrapolating. It's just inference. We just think it's going to help. We have no studies on it how it's going to help."
Yeah. So. I thought this was an older thing, and I guess the overall story was older, but for some reason, AP felt compelled today in July, July 20th, 2022, like half a year later, to debunk. I guess they're trying to still get the clicks or something. I don't know what's happening.
I mean, it was floating around. It got reported on in a few different places. I don't know if this is the study. I'm wondering if there's even a newer study and AP is
trying
using
to cover
this older study
as a misdirection, maybe
to try to misdirect people.
Yeah, it's possible. Let us know.
I don't know. We'd have to
study.
Look for a second. I remember hearing some reporting, but I don't know. We could live try to go find it, but that might be a dead end. Maybe you could do just a little searchy poo as I go into some monkeypox.
Yep, and just give me a moment here because the monkeypox was added after the fact, and it'll take me just one moment to get the jingle.
Careful opening the closet, because that's where the evil monkeypox lives.
Monkeypox.
And now.
Monkey. Box, box. Booga, booga.
Yes, this is very, very interesting. This is coming from the Atlantic. Atlanta. Yeah, I don't know why that happened. That's weird. Yes, the Atlantic. And the headline is U.S. messaging on monkeypox is deeply flawed. Now, if you've been listening to the show, especially if you've caught all the episodes over the past few months, the Atlantic is very confusing. They used to be almost my mortal enemy. And just a joke of a journalism outlet. But recently, as we map out the pendulum swinging, they've been really taking some interesting heel turns on some interesting subjects. And starting here.
Speaking of theocracy, the way they do that is they get a guy named Jerusalem to write the article for you.
Yes, Jerusalem Dems. U.S. messaging on monkeypox is deeply flawed. And I think it's interesting. Of course, we've been told over and over and over that the monkeypox is, mostly affecting gay men, bisexual men who have sex with men, and New York City being the epicenter for the U.S. And they have a picture here at the top, the headline picture and you can see a sign that says NYC Monkeypox Vaccine Clinic, and there's people standing in line, men, of course, and the way that the man is standing,
hips to the side.
You don't even he's popping that hip, he's leaning to one side. You just, you didn't even need to read the sign. You know exactly what he's waiting for. As monkeypox cases rise in the U.S., public officials are scrambling to balance concerns about stigmatization with the fact that the disease is largely affecting gay and bisexual men. That's right. We know this. We've heard about it over and over. That we can't stigmatize monkeypox. Anybody could get monkeypox. Well, let's keep going. Risk assessments. In the parts of the world.
I thought this was part of the article. But first, read these news stories.
Yeah, they try to make you read other news stories before reading the one you're in, which is suspicious.
Yeah, that is definitely some, not just mind control, but some, confusion tactics.
It's weird.
There.
Yeah. In the parts of the world where monkeypox is newly spreading, like the United States and Europe, the people currently most at risk of getting the disease are gay and bisexual men. A recent update from the World Health Organization noted that cases in newly afflicted countries have mainly been among, quote, men who have had recent sexual contact with a new or multiple male partners. In Europe, just 0.2% of the men who have gotten the disease identify as heterosexual. Reports from the Center of the U.S. Outbreak, New York City, show that, quote, the number of monkeypox cases has nearly tripled in the past week, nearly all of them among men who have sex with men. The infectious disease and LGBTQ health journalist Benjamin Ryan notes that though the U.S. is frustratingly not collecting demographic details on monkeypox patients, Britain is. And the numbers there are clear. Quote, half of men screened for monkeypox tested positive. Women, by contrast, tested positive only 0.6% of the time. So you got 50% versus 0.6%. And yet, despite this barrage of data, an American following the public health messaging on monkeypox might come away with the idea that all populations are similarly at risk of contracting the disease. U.S. officials are taking action to specifically protect men who have sex with other men, MSM, from monkeypox. Yeah, I know. They're putting it in there. Importantly, supplies of the vaccine have largely been reserved for that community. And yet, many public health officials and some media outlets have scrambled to combat the idea that monkeypox is a gay disease. Both the CDC and WHO websites bury mentions of MSM risk. Well, I don't know about that. We read the CDC.
We read it. It wasn't buried.
It was not buried.
Explicit.
It was too explicit. We couldn't even read the whole thing on this show.
Yeah, earmuffs, everybody.
These authorities, earmuffs, kids. These authorities, Ryan has urged, have spread a message, quote, so egregiously misleading, it amounts to misinformation. Dun, dun, dun. And this misinformation, that message, anyone can get monkeypox. The Atlantic saying that CDC and WHO websites and media outlets are spreading misinformation that anyone can get monkeypox? What kind of topsy-turvy, upside-down world do we live in, Gons? This is not the first time American public health officials have pushed a confusing communication strategy about the transmissibility of a dangerous virus. Smithsonian Magazine has documented how some AIDS organizations criticized the federal government for its "everyone is at risk" message in the late 1980s and early 90s. These organizations, quote, saw the campaign as diverting money and attention away from the communities that needed it the most, and instead focusing resources on much lower risk populations. Yesterday, the New York Times reported on a battle within the New York City's health department. The story revealed a widespread discomfort within the agency with acknowledging and highlighting the primary route of monkeypox transmission: sex between men. This is a block quote. The health department's guidance to the public has often highlighted non-sexual routes of potential transmission, such as hugging or contact with bedding. While those are certainly possible routes of transmission, the result, Dr. Weiss, a doctor at the department, said, was to make people overly concerned about casual physical contact and not sufficiently aware that most monkeypox infections in New York appeared to be transmitted through sex. On its face, the, quote, anyone can get monkeypox messaging is true, but imagine for a moment.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay, Atlantic.
What?
Sorry, it's just for them to go through all that and then say on the face, anyone can get monkeypox is true.
Anybody
but
can get monkeypox. But listen to this. But imagine for a moment, this is so good. Think about the energy that the Atlantic had to put into this.
Yes.
But imagine for a moment that a hurricane is making landfall on your state.
Okay.
You turn on your TV and the head of FEMA talking about how anyone could be struck by a hurricane and stressing that hurricanes are not Floridians' fault. Sure, you might say, but what about this hurricane right now? Who is it most likely to strike? You'd probably be left feeling frustrated, confused, and underprepared, which is not a bad illusion.
Sure.
Though hurricanes and infectious diseases are both acts of nature, Floridians are not stigmatized for their vulnerability to hurricanes in the way that gay men might be for their current vulnerability to monkeypox. Officials are wary of reinforcing stigmas. Case closed, right? Well, no, not exactly. Government officials often talk about the disparate impacts of illnesses such as diabetes, sickle cell disease, and COVID-19 on Black Americans. Might not Black Americans be stigmatized for being disproportionately impacted by these illnesses? Similarly, might not transgender youth be stigmatized for being disproportionately likely to end up homeless? Why is that? At a time when governmental institutions are more willing than ever before to recognize and call out these disparate impacts, officials are so wary of calling out the disparate impact of monkeypox. Public officials seem to have the logic exactly backwards. The most important time to be pointing out our disparities is when the relevant population is both unaware of them and can take personal action to present them. MSM
prevent harm.
Urgently, what?
Personal
prevent
action
harm, yeah.
to prevent harm, yeah.
Right. MSM urgently need access to vaccines and public health information to keep themselves safe. As the writer of and history professor Jim Downs recently argued in The Atlantic, quote, as a gay man who studies the history of infectious disease, I worry that public health leaders are not doing enough to directly alert men who have sex with men about monkeypox. Well, I don't know about that, Jim Downs. They partnered with the Grindr app to put out the word.
Right,
they did all
right.
sorts of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Conversely, the least important time to emphasize disparate impact is when it diminishes solidarity on key issues. And this is kind of getting to the crux of the issue here. For example, the idea that rich women won't be impacted by the fall of Roe v. Wade is both untrue and divides the coalition of people needed to combat further restrictions on abortion. Similarly, a recent study indicates that white Americans who learned about COVID-19's racial disparities actually became less afraid of the disease, lost empathy for those at risk, and reduce support for public health measures. It's not clear what rule governs when disparities are discussed and when they are papered over, but one pattern I've noticed is that leaders tend to emphasize the message of disproportionate harm while ignoring times of disproportionate risk. Many politicians and policymakers have developed a fluency in discussing the past harms that have led to disparate outcomes today, including wealth gaps, housing inequality, and overrepresentation of communities of color in jail and in homeless populations. But when talking about risk, leaders flounder. And then it kind of goes into a few more points. Well, you know what? It actually ends right here. So take the conversation around learning loss. COVID-19 led to the adoption of remote learning and the widespread closing of schools, leaving millions of kids at risk of long-term economic and educational deficits. But when it came to identifying students at risk, many officials worried about stigmatizing an entire generation. Balked. Why is risk considered stigmatizing and harm not? This heuristic is putting people at risk, and the leaders who are indulging it ought to at least attempt to justify it before allowing it to continue quietly impacting policymaking. So there's a lot of words there. There's a lot going on there. But the point being made is stop saying it's not a gay disease. Stop being so afraid to stigmatize, gay people getting a disease or MSM getting a disease so much that it actually puts them more at risk, which they didn't say the exact words, but they alluded to it at the end of the article here, which is the discussion of children being at risk for COVID. Children are not at the same risk of damage from COVID than anybody else. In fact, they are at the least amount of risk for COVID than any other population. And yet you put them through maybe the highest form of quote unquote protecting them. When you should have been focusing on other populations. Same thing with the monkeypox. They're going so far to not seem homophobic and to not stigmatize the gay men, bisexual men community, that they're actually causing more harm than they're fixing. And this is part of the disease of the wokeness, the disease of needing to stay politically correct. You're actually hurting the population that you're trying to protect by trying to seem so agreeable about everything. And this is part of the illogic that we even saw in the article about abortion earlier. It's so illogical, the stances that, policymakers, politicians, et cetera, even health professionals are taking, that they're causing more harm than if they would just, admit and tell the truth.
I think
and to have the Atlantic really point that out was a really fascinating experience for me.
I think, yeah, for sure. The Atlantic pointing it out is definitely interesting. I think they want monkeypox to spread, just become a massive issue in the gay community, because if there is some kind of serious problem within the gay community, similar to what we saw with AIDS, but more directly with the gay community.
Yeah.
Think of it in the backdrop of the rise of theocracy in this country. How long before somebody in the pulpit says monkeypox is God's judgment on the gay people?
Yeah.
And for the mainstream media to not be clear about it, and this Atlantic author here, Jerusalem Demsas, pointing out the issues and saying that, hey, by not being clear about the message, you're actually making things worse. That would make sense. They want it to get worse. They want it to get worse before they can. They don't need to defend them anymore in that same way, because
they want it to be a crisis. They want the crisis to build.
Right. Because then you have both sides.
Because fixing a crisis, as a politician being in charge of fixing a crisis, you get way more attention, way more benefit for being in charge during a crisis than you do quietly avoiding the crisis before it happens.
Right. Uneventful leaders.
It's the incentive structure of our government, basically.
Yeah. So it's just a theory. I don't know if they're going to be able to pull it off among other agendas at play, but I personally think they want monkeypox to spread like crazy among the gay community, have it become a serious problem. I think so too. And they can do all the things they need to do to become more, at least create that sort of, hey, we're turning into Russia with banning LGBTQ. I don't know if they'll go that far, in this country that quickly, but that'll be the move.
Can I add something to that?
Sure, yeah.
Just to help clarify your point. Your point where they want it to become a crisis. They is not the New York Health Department. No. They is not, the even possibly even individual politicians who are sort of in contact with this.
Yeah.
The they is sort of the wider meta they,
the elite.
Which is the incentive structure of the elites is crisis is profit. And so, you create the wider meta they creates an atmosphere where you have, the New York Health Authority so afraid of stigmatizing gay people because they're going to get canceled and whatever, lose their jobs, lose their whatever. You create a culture that puts them in so much fear that it paralyzes them from actually taking the right steps to fix the problem. You let it grow into a crisis, then you profit off of the crisis. Yep. It's a cycle we see happen literally every day, but on a wider timeline. That's like literally our whole history for the past 80 years.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, and I hope we're wrong about that.
I don't think we are wrong. You can also see it playing out in other things like climate change.
It has begun.
Since the beginning of time, man has yearned to destroy the sun. I will do the next best thing. Block it out.
Climate change. Climate change. Mass extinction.
Viz.org headline: Water police patrol drought hit Los Angeles streets. Oh no, we got water police now.
And good thing there's a crisis so they can use the water police.
There's a picture of a guy standing in front of somebody's home, and he's got a clipboard, one of those clipboards that are also little filers, like they open up and they keep papers in there.
He's standing next to a little puddle.
A little puddle.
A puddle. Somebody's watering hose, like a automatic drip system next to a bush, is on the sidewalk.
This is blasphemy. Damon Ayala patrols the streets of drought-stricken.
He's got his hand up and he's looking off to the side as if there's somebody over there, and he's like, you seeing this? Can you believe this?
Come on, man. Look at this waste.
He's so offended at this puddle.
I know. It gets good. It gets good. Trust me. Damon Ayala patrols the streets of drought-stricken Los Angeles every day, inspecting the sidewalks. Each time he sees a puddle, he stops.
Oh, what a hero.
He is part of the city's Department of Water and Power team, which looks into hundreds of community complaints filed by neighbors each week about water waste. Quote,
neighbors.
But by the way, this is a snitching situation here. It's just a neighbor watering their garden, and some neighbor's like, you're wasting water for climate.
Yeah, we're policing. They've done such a good job in LA of getting everybody to police each other.
Yeah, it's the virtual panopticon.
All you need is one guy with a clipboard.
Walking around, everyone buttons up and snitches on each other. Quote, it's not extreme, but it's something we want them to take a look at, he says, of one pool of water. Quote, quote, looks like they have drip irrigation on this side, so there might be just a broken connector, end quote.
Oh, it's all coming together.
Is he a plumber or what is he? Ayala Ayala's patrol comes as California and the western United States are in the grip of a severe years-long drought. Scientists say global warming, driven by human activity, including the unchecked burning of fossil fuels, is creating a greater number of extreme events. With reservoirs and rivers at historic lows, Los Angeles authorities have brought in water restrictions, such as limiting lawn irrigation to as little as 8 minutes twice per week. Wow. Ayala notes down the addresses of properties where he finds evidence of infringement. The first violation prompts a warning. Quote, a lot of times they don't know about the ordinance, and that's our job to educate them, he said. Repeat offenders are fined between $200 and $600.
That's a lot of money. Quote, oh my gosh.
I love this. Quote, we're not looking really for their money. That doesn't get us more water. We're trying to get behavioral change.
Yeah.
End quote, he says. Straight up telling you he is trying to change your behavior. Yeah. Quote, so that way we can capture the water savings from making those changes. End quote. After a fifth infraction, a device is installed which physically restricts a household's supply, although Ayala says that step has rarely been necessary.
What?
Yeah, dude.
They put a meter and turn off your water when you use too much?
This is so analogous to the entire world control system. Because
I didn't know it went this far already.
Yeah. I'm not joking when I say California. The weather's been fantastic, though. By the way, it's beautiful weather right now.
Got to get out of there, man.
It's
got to get out of there.
I do. I go outside and it's beautiful. I completely forget that I'm in a communist state.
That is a very funny joke. I'm glad that you have a good attitude about it.
I try. Yeah, so it continues. Quote, we've been in serious drought situations in the past in the city of Los Angeles, and its citizens responded, he said, into slavery. Quote, and we expect them to respond this time around too. The water department says it is beginning to see results. Officials noted a reduction in residential water demand in June compared to the same month last year. Yeah, because it's cooler this year. But, they don't talk about that. But as the drought worsens, more permanent changes to the city landscape could become necessary. Famous for its rows of palm trees, Los Angeles has also traditionally been known for its lush green lawns maintained with automatic sprinklers. Residents are increasingly replacing their thirsty lawns with plants native to this desert region. And then it gets into some other stuff about AstroTurf and, like fake lawns and stuff. And just becoming more plastic. A planted area can be cooler by, quote, easily 20 degrees Fahrenheit, 10 degrees Celsius, than a gravel replacement. And, quote, there's the ability to hold on to rain when we do get it so that we can replenish aquifers, end quote. And it goes on here. Quote, it's heartbreaking to see, but it's also a lesson, she said, pointing to the withering garden. She's talking about a garden that she has here. Quote, that should be our past and this should be our future, Simon added, looking back at the native plants. So, drought, all the restrictions are there. I hope this doesn't, and the other thing that's really infuriating being a local here, there was a company that had already done this in San Diego where they built this plant right on the ocean. And I forget what it's called, but it's a thing that basically turns the ocean water into usable water for the city, like drinking water.
Yeah.
And the environmental committee or whatever it was in California, there's so many layers of bureaucracy. They unanimously voted no. And these guys,
really?
The people trying to help them build this had been at it. They've been at it for desalination. Thank you, the people in the chat coming through. They've been working on this for 30 years or something. And
Israel gets 80% of its water from desalination.
Yeah, it works. But no, a unanimous no from the liberal progressive.
Yeah, because then they can't hold it over your heads.
Yeah, it's a solution.
They can't control you with it.
Just unbelievable.
Yeah, the the emergency is more useful than the solution.
Yeah. And, the sewer surveillance aspect plays into this whole thing. Now they're not just monitoring the, post use of your water, but they will control the inflow of water into your home, especially if you got puddles outside your house, man. This guy's going to take down some notes. He's going to dox you and fine you.
Can you believe this guy? Can you believe this guy with his leaky pipes?
This picture is hilarious, though. You could not get... It's like they spilled a drink on the ground. That's how little this puddle is.
It is a tiny little puddle. It's moist.
It's moist.
Most of it is just moisture. It's not even a puddle. But there is one little spot. It does look like somebody spilled their jar of sweet tea or something.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, good for you, man. I'm glad you're holding to your principles and staying in beautiful California.
Sorry, I jumped the gun there. Yeah, in California too, the people that get into places of power, especially like LA County, my gosh, they are some of the most power hungry people I've ever seen. It's like, wow, especially during COVID, it was like, whoa. We knew we were crazy, but whoa.
If somebody wants to be in politics in California, they don't belong in politics in California.
They don't belong in regular society. You have to be a little bit crazy. You got to think we're all just numbers on a page or something to make the decisions and stuff that you need to make. But anyway, all right, let's take a quick break here.
It's break time! Come on, take a break.
This is our break where we thank our producers who come in with their talent. We call upon our listeners, everyone out there in the community, to step up and become producers of the show by contributing with their God-given talent. Don't just consume the content, but actually provide value back by building the culture behind the community here at Canary Cry News Talk. All we ask is that whatever you make is in reference to the actual podcast, whether it be a story we covered and the many characters therein or something silly that happens while we're on air. And in this break, we thank our audio producers.
Audio production. Productions.
And don't think we have anything today in the audio department. So you ready to wake up?
That's
all we had planned.
I'll take this opportunity we had one of our financial producers come in who's on a streak, and so we can thank them now.
Let's do that.
Yeah, that was producer bot LX Protocol V2.
Ah, there it is. Yeah, I saw that name crossed out, so thank you, LX Protocol V2.
Yes, we made it. You made it. Thank you very much, LX Protocol. And LX Protocol V2 is on a 56 episode streak.
Impressive.
And mentioned it is Wednesday, my dudes. Sorry, it's late.
It is Wednesday,
thank you,
my dudes.
and have a blessed day. There we go.
That's a good combo.
Here's just for the benefit of the audio producers, because I understand, a lot of our creative producers, whether they be artists or musicians or jinglers, a lot of them come in for, they really nail it. They do a lot of wonderful stuff, and then they kind of, life gets in the way. It's not easy
to record stuff and produce music.
No, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So we certainly don't expect everybody to come in every episode. But I did want to give a shout out from Davey Frost in the Twitch chat, who would say, I would say the audio producers here rival that of No Agenda. That's some high praise.
I think we have a smaller crew right now too.
We have a much smaller crew, but I'm not going to lie, I would agree. I think our audio producers work harder, produce more, and produce higher quality stuff. There's nothing against No Agenda or the audio producers therein, but we've got a very special crew around here.
Yeah.
And you dear producer, anybody out there, anybody can become a producer of the show in all the different ways. If you're a creative person, if you create art or music or jingles, or, either it's full-length songs, which will make it onto the Canary Cry mixtape, or jingles that we request or you think we need or deserve. There's no application process. Just make something and send it to canarycryradio@gmail.com, and we'll put it on the show. We had actually a couple of requests. I think we were trying to figure out if we had an AOC jingle.
Yeah, no, I was looking
certainly
it up, but I didn't find one. But there could have been one sent in. But my point to Basil was, if there was one that was good enough, then it would have stuck. But
well, maybe
I could be mean to somebody.
Yeah,
when I
don't
say
know.
That, so
I don't want to say that. Sometimes we just lose things.
Yeah, we do lose things.
Because if somebody did make one and we just forgot about it, we don't want to do that. Who knows? Maybe it is great. If you did make one and send it in, let us know. Remind us. Maybe send it in again. Because we've been working on our databasing of things for a while, and we haven't always been very great, so it might just be gone. But we do need an AOC jingle. And remember, the best jingles are the shorter, punchiest jingles. 3 seconds is money. 5 seconds is good. If you're getting more than 5 seconds, it's moving out of jingle territory. So shoot for something, 3 to 5 seconds for a jingle.
Yeah.
So we needed AOC. There was one other one.
I forget.
You remember what it was?
No, it was from last episode.
I think we requested one last episode.
Yeah, I forget what it was.
Maybe what it was.
No, Event 201, because that one's coming up for
Event. We do need 201, right, for the streaks.
The streaks, yeah.
We wanted to do an Event 201 jingle. Oh, yeah, and thank you, Ebony Blaze. More break jingles.
Ah, that's right, break jingles, yeah.
Yes, which is tougher because our current break jingle has an animation to it, but we'll figure it out. We need more break jingles, more wake-up jingles, stuff like that.
Yeah.
All right, there you go.
All right, let's wake up.
Thank you to all our producers.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll have more to thank in the next segment. But, this is my favorite segment of the show.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
It wouldn't be a show without some Shillzilla.
Shill.
A shill for sure.
There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are.
Aliens. Yep. Aliens. Aliens.
Sorry, didn't mean to step on you, but hey, this is a combo.
That's okay. Yeah, I didn't know that there was a combo. That's great. Yeah, Chris Cillizza, folks. It's been a while since we've done a Chris Shillzilla story, but I don't know. I don't know how much Chris Cillizza. He is sort of the underdog over there at CNN. He's a conspiracy theorist about Trump and Republicans. He's sort of relegated to his YouTube show. They don't really let him in the building or in the studio of real CNN, but he gets to do the YouTube stuff. And, he's working real hard. He's working hard. And we're almost positive that at least someone in his orbit watches the show or listens to this show, because sometimes there are things that he says and does that are way too close to comments we've made about him.
Close.
Or whatever. So today we got a Chris Cillizza little clip off here. UFO. This is from a clip of his show, The Point, on YouTube. Which is titled "UFOs Are Becoming a Much Bigger Priority for Congress." Ooh.
Which I think is funny because this is also still under CNN politics, and I can picture the conversation with Chris in an office meeting with his bosses, and with all the changes taking place, and they're like, "Chris, we don't know if we have any room for you on the big stage. Things are changing.
It's not getting called up to the big show quite yet.
Yeah, we're making some changes here. So in the meantime, we do need somebody to cover some of the more edgy stuff, the fringy stuff. So
especially because they're trying to back away.
Yeah.
From the Trump conspiracy stuff with the new ownership of CNN.
Right. So I could picture that, and then him going into his basement and coming up with this.
1 month until my book is due. I'm not stressed out. Early
earlier this month, the U.S. House did something very interesting. They passed, as part of a much broader bill, a provision that would encourage more sharing of reports of sightings and encounters with unidentified aerial phenomena, aka UFOs. The measure also offered total amnesty to any past or current military member who offers up information about UAPs, that's unidentified aerial phenomenon, that's what we call them now, UAPs. The measure, and the larger bill, now heads to the Senate, which has to approve it before President Joe Biden can sign it into law. So, nothing's done just yet. I've learned that lesson over the years. But the House's decision to make the reporting of UAP sightings much easier and much less stigmatized is the latest in a series of moves that suggest that Congress is finally taking the issue of crafts of unknown origins more seriously.
You know, I never thought, Basil, that we would be at a place in the world where CNN's Shillzilla is reporting on the UFO investigation.
The same stuff that we do.
Now, it's one thing to just say sort of a similar thing as we've been saying with some similar talking points. It's a whole nother thing when you get visuals and other elements involved.
Last summer, the U.S. intelligence community issued an unclassified report to Congress on UAPs that had a number of eye-popping revelations.
A number of what?
Hey! Eye-popping revelations. And for those who are just listening, those little pops, that's Chris Shillzilla getting on my brand. He's stepping on my brand. He's Adam Carolla-ing me. I'm getting Adam Carolla by Chris Shillzilla.
The second pop noise, when he says a UAPs that had a number of eye-popping revelations, he actually, does the pop over his eyes, and then in the graphics on the video, he put two giant googly eyes.
He's taking my googly eye shtick, man. What is going on? I'm going to start suing. I'm going to start suing all of these guys. Adam Carolla, I'm coming for you. Flippy Update's mine. Chris Shillzilla, I'm coming for you. The googly eyes are mine, baby. I don't know. I know there's another one, but I can't remember right now. I'm going to get my lawyers on it. If there's any lawyers, entertainment lawyers specifically,
you can
maybe trademark lawyers. I don't even know what kind of lawyer.
But you got
I need a constitutional lawyer is what I need.
You need a you gotta file, what is it called, a DCA against them, a digital copyright
order.
Yeah,
bro. What is this seriously though? What is going on? Are we just so far ahead? There's three options. We're just so far ahead and so in tune with everything, not just news, but also like culture, where we just naturally do the things that everybody starts doing, a year or two after us, 2 years, sometimes even longer, 5 years, 6 years for Adam Carolla and Flippy Update. Either we're so we are the barometer of culture, we're like God's thermometer, where you see the temperature rising and you see it with us before you feel it. Or these guys are straight up jacking my steez.
DMCA, thank you, Brother G.
I don't even remember what the third option was. I think I said there was three things.
He did.
Dude, I do not know what's going on, though. It's freaking me out, honestly. And can they please just send us a check? Chris, just produce the show, man. Adam Carolla, you can steal all of our stuff if you want. But, produce the show at least.
Well, if you want, I do have some actual substance from Shillzilla's little UFO thing here. It's 5 minutes long. I chopped it all down here, obviously, for some highlights. I couldn't believe it. I almost fell out of my chair when I saw him do the eye-popping revelations.
Cannot believe this.
Eyes. Unbelievable.
Well, and it's not even Chris, this is, of course, perfect. Chris, somebody over there with Chris Come on.
Maybe
You're
his
not
video
hiding
editor.
it anymore. Send us an email. Yeah, it might be the editor. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe somebody's sending him little clips. I don't know what the deal is, but he's definitely aware. And not because we're so cool, but we are the #1 outlet on the internet specifically reporting. We have a whole segment based on Chris Shilzilla. And I'm telling you, I mean, if somebody out there had like the Basil update or something and was reporting on me weekly, yeah, I'd keep an eye on it for sure. So for sure, he or somebody in his orbit is like,
well, we'll have to see
staying up to date.
Because if Chris is watching, then we'll start having communications right through the show. So if he is because this is one of those things where he will look for it. Like he'll be like, oh, I wonder if these guys will cover this.
Or whoever's keeping an eye on it for him.
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely.
Well, I don't know. Should we? How do we do it? What do we do?
I don't know because
do we suggest something?
Maybe, but the thing is, I think that would be too obvious. If they do answer to some of our requests, it would be too obvious. There has to be
plausible deniability for them.
Right. So they have to lift things or themes or something that already exists in our milieu.
The problem is this means that we're going to have to watch his show a lot.
He's smart.
And I don't want to do that.
He's smart. He knows his audience.
He knows if he can get me hooked on looking for secret nods that I'll actually watch the show. I don't know if that's going to work.
If he starts talking about Nephilim, I'm just going to walk away. I'm done. I'm done. If he writes an article about Nephilim, I will take the show off.
Well, you know what? I do watch his Twitter. Like I do see his Twitter every day. So if he's going to send us a message, he has to lure me in with his Twitter first, and then I'll find whatever it is.
Haven't you reply tweeted on his tweets?
Yeah, he actually.
So he's aware. He's got to be aware of you on Twitter at least. Maybe not.
But I might just be a strange Twitter idiot to him. You know.
Sure.
I've given him more. There's only one other user on Twitter that has given more attention to Chris, and that is an account called Chris Siliza's editor, and it's a bot. It's a bot that somebody made. All it does.
Poor guy.
All it does. It's a bot, and this bot only has 25 followers, but it's a bot somebody made that quote tweets every single tweet that Chris Siliza tweets, and replies with, "Great take. You should write a listicle about it."
Oh my gosh.
It is so funny.
And I'm probably 5 years old.
Yeah, it's very old.
Listicles?
I'm sure it's very old. Yeah, and it's of course making fun of Chris as how he's just like relegated to the internet. He's not allowed to be on real CNN. Yeah. He's just like CNN's internet goofball. Which look, I throw a lot of shade at Chris, but you know what? He's got his hustle. That's cool, man. You do you. But yeah, besides this bot, I probably am the most consistent person that Chris gets responses from.
Real human watching and keeping track.
It's very possible. Okay, all right. So I think the Nephilim thing, I will lose my mind if Chris
starts talking about the
Nephilim. Even if there's just one. Oh, look, there's another one. Chris Siliza generator. Designed to point out that a randomly generated string of words makes more sense than Chris's. Oh, this is different, though. This doesn't interact with him. It's just like a generator. That's very funny. Okay, so I will lose my mind if Chris Siliza posts something mentioning the Nephilim. But I will keep an eye out on his Twitter. If whoever is over there helping Chris... if you need to send a message, I'll be looking out for it. I'm not going to watch every episode of The Point, though.
Well,
so you need to put some effort into getting my attention.
Yeah. So I have this clip here just to kind of see the actual work he's doing. He quotes Harry Reid. He has videos spliced in. And actually, the quote that he shows here is very interesting in the context of everything happening. So let's just play it.
Reid defended the $22 million he had earmarked for AATIP over his time in the Senate, telling Nevada Newsmakers, which is a show in the state, this about studying UAPs.
You know that China's doing it. We know that Russia, which is led by someone who was head of the KGB, you know they're doing it, and so we better take a look at it too. We got a volume of research that was done and said, put it out to bid, and $22 million worth of research. And it was very interesting because it showed that not 2 people, 4 people, 6 people, 20 people, but hundreds and hundreds of people have seen these things, sometimes all at the same time.
Earlier that same year, Reid was blunt about his interest on Nevada Public Radio.
I personally don't know if there exists little green men other places. I kind of doubt that, but I do believe that the information we have indicates that we should do a lot more study.
Reid died in late 2021 before he could see the rest of Congress take action on the mystery and potential threat these UAPs represent. But Congress has clearly woken up to the fact that UAPs aren't really about aliens necessarily, but more about the national security threat posed by objects flying in our airspace that we can neither identify nor explain, which is progress. And that is the point.
There you go. That's the point.
That is the point.
Which is a point we've been making for about 10 years. The whole phenomenon, you got to parse out the phenomenon. That you got your alien abduction phenomenon, you have your visual sightings of UFOs. You know, I know that it kind of falls into the same category of paranormal and all that kind of stuff, but it is different. And Chris Cillizza makes it his final point.
He gets it. That's the point. And that's the point.
That's the point. And it makes the Harry Reid clip is interesting because, you know, he talks about, this is back in 2019. He's saying, hey, China's been doing it. Russia's doing it. So we better do it. You know, we better get on it. So I found that interesting as well, because it's like, okay, there's some urgency for governments to start addressing this issue. Right. And yeah, I think it's all part of the cover-up, to be honest, because to me, this is all military or breakaway civilization, military industrial complex type of stuff that's really advanced. But in any case, there you go. There's our little Shillzilla update. He's apparently a UFO guy now. His new beat is UFO, and it's a matter of time before he mentions the Nephilim as part of his report.
You know,
Speaking
maybe
of Nephilim,
it had been a while since we had done a Chris Shillzilla report.
Oh yeah, maybe.
So I'm thinking maybe they did this just to get back on the show.
Yeah, you know? Maybe that's possible. Hey. My number one fans aren't talking about me anymore.
Yeah, he knew what he had to do.
Better give them what they want.
Yeah.
Nephilim update. Nephilim update. Nephilim update.
I told you about.
Speaking of which,
yeah, I know. I told you about Stray, that cat game earlier. There's another game from this is segmentnext.com. Diablo Immortal Bilefen.
Oh yeah,
Ancient Arena Event Guide. It's an event guide. I don't know much about Diablo Immortal Bilefen.
Oh, I do.
Ancient Arena. Yeah, tell us.
This is a very popular game right now. This is like the most popular game. Well, you know Diablo. We've talked about Diablo.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, they made a mobile version, and it's pretty good.
Okay, so here's what it says.
They nailed it.
In Diablo Immortal, the Bilefen Ancient Arena is a quest that may be finished for various rewards, including enchanted dust and a legendary item. However, Ancient Arena's location is essentially a Bilefen zone. It is the zone's PvP area. In the area, a chest spawns once every 3 hours. Over it, players might engage in conflict. You must complete all of the solo campaign missions offered in the Ancient Arena's location, the Bilefen Zone, to participate in the event. Enter the Ancient Arena before it begins. The event begins. Defeat other players in the Ancient Arena. Kill the Ancient Guardian and unlock the Nephilim Cache. To claim your reward are some of the objectives of this Ancient Arena. You can get Nephilim or it's cache, I guess. CACHE.
Oh, it's cash.
It's cash, baby.
Yeah, they love Nephilim in Diablo.
Yeah.
And it was one that I was not allowed to play as a kid because it's got a scary, evil picture of the devil on the front. But you do. I mean, look, you do. The whole point of the game is to kill the devil. Like,
right.
You know, you're
got a lot of that.
So,
I made a video about him.
It's the best thing, but you are trying to kill the devil. And they love the Nephilim lore. They have it all over their place. There's this one bad guy. What was his name? It's like six finger Freddy or something.
Ah, there you go.
It's just a Nephilim.
You see,
six finger.
What what would be very sad is if all of our, kind of edgy, fringy Nephilim views, when that gets weaponized and get hijacked by the nationalism, that'd be a problem. Maybe Diablo is that. It's the predictive programming for the anti-Nephilim army that will arise out of the Christian nationalist movement.
Maybe they'll do like an Ender's Game situation.
Yeah, we'll be running around.
Listen up, Americans. We gotta kill the devil, and we need to call on our best gamer boys and girls.
Who's the devil? Joe Biden. He won't die. Who do we have to listen to?
Hey, man.
Putin is our leader.
Yeah, there you go. That is the narrative that they're kind of building up, is the Christo-fascists who are allied with Putin are here to take us down from the inside.
Right.
I mean, you follow all the narratives that are kind of coalescing right now as far as geopolitics and who's the real threat. It's Christo-fascists allying with Putin, and we take down America from the inside. So keep an eye out for that one.
If you manage to open the Nephilim cache, you will get 6 enchanted dust, a random number of an item of varying quality, normal, magic, rare, and a guaranteed legendary item.
Guaranteed legendary item?
Guaranteed legendary item.
I gotta go get myself a Nephilim cache.
This means that the Bilifin Ancient Arena is currently the most lucrative event in Diablo Immortal.
Oh, good to know.
There's your Nephilim update.
All right.
Yeah.
It's also pronounced Bilefen.
Yeah, whatever. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Bile.
Supposed to be scary.
Bilifin.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Let's check out some art, Bretta.
Okay.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Little shaky down here. When we get to this area of the show, we're not used to it yet.
Oh, you're doing fine.
We're going to thank some people who came in with visual art.
One art, please.
And we will begin with Dame Allie of the Skillet Nation.
One art, another one from Allie now. Here it is.
And this is in reference... let me say the title here. The Great Reset penny will drop for Ian Collins very soon. And for those of you who were with us on the last episode, Ian Collins is the guy who said this.
I love the Great Reset.
That guy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there is a haiku to go with it. So let's go through this here. Okay. The Great Reset penny will drop for Ian Collins very soon. A Dame Ebony Blaze haiku. Ian Collins has been studying for 2 decades. I might be wrong, but I'm all about the Great Reset. Frankly, nothing more settling for life. The kind of reset, you kind of have these resets, like it's just a phrase. P.S.
And here we go.
Allie came up with the "it's not just a phrase, Mom." Hilarious.
And we've got a truly magnificent, I think, I said immediately, the second I saw this, Dame Allie's best work. The photorealism on this is absolutely perfect. I mean, the sources of light, the shadows falling, not just from the geography of the face, but the glasses, the shadows of the glasses, the inner ear versus the outer ear. Just absolutely perfect. I mean, this is an incredible piece, Dame Allie. I don't have much more to say. It's a perfect, the ratios, the what is the word? Not the ratios, but the dimensions of the face, the everything, and everything is absolutely perfect. The lighting is perfect. Really, this might be, as far as like technical quality, Dame Allie, absolutely perfect. You nailed it. And make sure, everybody, to check out our social media accounts or sign up for the newsletter over at canarycry.party, because before every show, not only do you get our sources sent straight to your email box, but you also get all the art, so you can take a look at it, especially if you just listen to the audio version. Great way to do it. Very, very well done, Dame Allie.
Thank you very much, Dame Allie. Yeah, and that lighting on the ear is really impressive.
I know. It's funny to listen to. I can imagine being a listener of the podcast, listening on Apple Podcasts, just like, oh, the lighting on the ear is incredible.
The shade.
You seriously have to take, we have like, I just feel so honored to have been part of this journey of Allie just nailing it so hard.
Yeah.
Thank you, Allie.
Thank you, Allie. All right, next up we got Sir Dove, Knight of Respel Team.
What are these from Dove?
Here's a note. It says, Beasts, for this week's NWO Fantasy League update, we've got some more promotional artwork. Pope Jorge sits on the sidelines, patiently looking on, ready to step up when his number is called and, again, lead the traffickers onto another victory. Hope you guys like it. Keep doing what you do, and I'll keep praying for you.
Not so subtle on that one.
New World Order Fantasy League. They're all 100% eugenics, transhumanist lizards that control everything. They hate you.
NewWorldOrderFantasyLeague.com or NWOFL.com. Go sign up to get on the list for when the New World Order Fantasy League begins. And we have Pope Jorge here. My gosh. He have I mentioned this before? Dove must be taking like actual photos taken. I mean, like during template. Games as a template games. Because, just like actual professional sports photography. Because, you watch a football game, you can identify the weird things, like when people are off field, they have like a towel on their head or kind of, there's so many little details that give such a truly authentic sports vibe to what Sir Dove is making here. It's incredible. So we've got Pope Jorge. He's chilling. He's off the field right now, but he's got a Lunarade towel wrapped around his head, trying to keep cool. He's got perfectly placed little, what are they called? Liver spots or sunspots? No, that too. I was thinking. I was talking about the imperfections on, the old man's head up there.
Oh,
at the top.
Little the spots.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the little sunspots or liver spots, whatever they're called. Yes, but he's got the sun black. Is that what you said?
Eye black, I think they're called.
Eye black. Yeah. Yes, smeared down his face. He's a hardcore dude. The logo for the traffickers is a traffic light, folks. I don't know what you had in mind, but it's a traffic light. It's got the red, yellow, green thing. He's the captain of the traffickers. He's got 4 stars there on his captain's patch.
Baphomet stars.
And yes, indeed. Got the NWO Fantasy League logo down there. He's number 1. He's number 1 on the traffickers.
Squiggly one.
A little squiggly one. Thank you and of course we've got the Cat of Nine Tails Nike logo, the number 1 sponsor of the New World Order Fantasy League. Excellently done, Sir Dove. And everybody go check out NWOFL.com. Get your email into the email list because that's how we're going to be able to populate the teams when we get started.
Yep. Thank you very much, Sir Dove. Appreciate it, and appreciate all your work and everybody who's participating and helping us build the New World Order Fantasy League. This is a dream come true for Basil. All right. Next up, we have MLC, who did the thing that we've been contemplating to not do or not
contemplating banning.
Yeah,
and he's
but it's okay.
tempting us.
It's all part of the thing here. MLC, he's got a note. Basil and Gons, I listened to Basil's idea for telling people about Canary Cry News Talk. So I found an AI art generator and typed in listen to Canary Cry News Talk and rattle cages. This is what I got.
And of course, we know what he got. It's something terrifying. It's a terrifying artificial intelligence thing. We've got some sort of demented mutant canaries that are really nightmare fuel. Behind them, we've got, it looks like I thought this was interesting. The AI, you could tell it started with like a building, like a skyscraper, and then sort of demented it into a bird cage, which I thought was actually kind of poignant, like, working that 9 to 5 in the old bird cage type of thing.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much all I can distinguish in this thing.
That there's a black thing that looks either like a microphone stand or one of those oil rigs.
Or oil, yeah, good call.
Some trees or something in the background.
Interesting. There's a red thread, like a thread or a yarn, which I thought was interesting because his prompt, listen to Canary Cry News Talk and rattle cages. His prompt did not include anything about like conspiracy theories, but it's got like a bundle of the red yarn that you would use in like a crazy conspiracy theory, cork board.
You know what?
Connecting the dots thing.
You know what? I'm seeing what looks, maybe it's just pareidolia, but I'm seeing on the bird on the left what looks like one side of a pair of glasses.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I wonder. It depends what the database, the learning model for this particular AI is. Because if it does learn on like Google image searches, it would, in theory, pull some Canary Cry News Talk imagery.
Yeah,
but I'm not sure if it does or not.
Well, interesting. The jury's still out on whether we will.
Well, we're still tempted to ban this AI art, but thank you very much, MLC.
Appreciate it.
For pushing the envelope even further.
Yep. We have envelope pushers here. All right. So we also have one more here from Brother G. And Brother G doing
this is hilarious
work right here. He says, I made a shirt. Render of our commander-in-chief to rival the Trump shirt from last show, all in fun. I'm not a Republican or Democrat. I'm a monarchist, and I serve the king who is to come, as my fellow Canarians do. Love the show. God bless. And
he did it. He did the thing.
Did the thing. It's great.
Did the thing to rival Derwin's Trump rally shirt. We now have the Biden rally shirt. And yes, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about a dozen or so Biden pictures. Some of them the funniest Biden pictures.
Yeah, they're hilarious.
He's got the big main one in the front is him holding an ice cream cone, making a dumb face. He's making another weird face down below that. Another one with an ice cream cone.
He's been pictured with a lot of ice cream.
He's doing his Illuminati hand signal in one of them. They got the one where he's just sort of ominously staring out a window for no reason.
The guy's aviator
looking
ones.
kind of sad. What'd you say?
He's got there's the aviator Biden on the side. The
aviator, yeah, we got the aviators. Got a couple where he's just smiling. I can see there's just weird ones, man. This is so funny. Man, if we
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
No,
there's one where he's. Oh, jeez.
Go.
If you look on the male side, there's a male and a female. You look on the male side, on the left arm of the actual model, it looks like Mel Gibson is poking his head.
So there's he gave us the full flats, like the full shot of the piece before he put it on the shirt, and it's a young Joe Biden. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, a really young Joe
Biden, and he does kind of look like Mel Gibson right there.
Looks a little bit like Mel Gibson. Very, very interesting. This is very funny.
Yeah,
we've talked about, oh my God, there's so many where he's eating ice cream. We've talked about doing shirts for the supply drop. It's a bit of a logistics nightmare because everybody in the supply drop would need to give us sizes. And it's really difficult. Like, we can send emails and stuff, but at least half the people won't give us their sizes. So if we do apparel, it would be just one size type of thing. But this is definitely a shoo-in for here's what we do. Much like how Derwin is being scammed by non-Trump affiliated people, we can just send this out. We don't even have to claim to be from Biden. We can just say, like, hey, here's your Biden rally shirt. Give us $25.
We should do it. I'll go to. We got Democrats around here. I'll just go to a convention or
Democrats.
something. I'll wear the shirt.
We're nonpartisan. Yeah, wear it around town. If anybody asks, we'll make a URL. We'll give as little information as possible, and hope they don't look at their PayPal statement that says it goes to Canary Cry Radio.
All right. Well, great job, brother G. This is the kind of work that we love here.
Yes, very well done. Thank you.
We got a quick microfiction to wrap up this segment here.
Okay.
Microfiction.
Microfiction.
And it is by Wrong Smash.
Replica rides on Rooster's back through the 7 now crumbling peaks of Disney's metaverse castle, observing the destruction wrought by his new companion as he wonders to himself, did it have to be like this? Is this what Father would have wanted? They've done it! Rooster has completed his mission to destroy Big Mouse. They've destroyed the Big Mouse castle.
Yay.
That's very funny. 7 Mountains is very funny, too.
Yeah,
Thank you very much, Runk Smash.
Thank you, Wrong Smash. Done. That does it for the producers who came in with their talent. Thank you all, and we appreciate you. Mm-hmm. I feel like there should be another jingle right here, but we don't have one. So we will wake up.
Yeah, we need like a thank you for your patronage, but for art.
Yeah.
You did a good art. There you go. There's a little sound clip for somebody.
There you go.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
It's cold, Basil. It's cold. Antarctica, go burn.
It's snowstorm. Antarctica. Ice scientists are penguins.
Antarctica, they're opening the abyss.
I love this. I love it when Snopes it proves that they are closet flat earthers. Snopes.com. Yeah. How do you say you're a flat earther without saying you're a flat earther, Snopes? With this article. Snopes.com. Is this Antarctica as photographed from space? The image has been widely viewed, but also mischaracterized. And there's a picture here. Looks like the Earth, as we are told, it is a round circle object with a big splotch of white. The white desert, which allegedly is Antarctica. See what the article says here. Claim. An image shows an actual photograph of Antarctica taken from space. Rating? Miscaptioned.
Oh, miscaptioned. I didn't even know that was a rating that they gave.
They do have.
Seems like a lot of their false ratings are really just miscaptioned.
They have the same icon, I think, as the false one here. It's a red, kind of like a stop sign, but this one has a camera with an X through it. So I don't know if it's a little different, but I think it's very similar. They use the red color, which is usually indicative of false, right?
Yes.
On July 15th, 2022, a Twitter user posted an image that has since been widely viewed, allegedly showing Antarctica as photographed from space. The tweet is captioned, quote, Antarctica, seen from space, end quote, and contains a stunning image of an icy surface against a deep blue ocean. And yes, there it is again. The caption of the tweet may lead some viewers to believe that it's an actual photograph of Antarctica taken from a spacecraft, but it is not.
Oh.
Snopes? What are you doing?
Like, yeah, all NASA photographs are composites rendered by artists because the Earth is flat.
According to NASA's Scientific Visualization Studio, the image was digitally created and released publicly in 2007 using an amalgamation of satellite data. Here's how NASA describes the image creation. It's got this big old block quote here. In support of International Polar Year, this matching pair of images shows a global view of the Arctic and Antarctic were generated in poster-size resolution. Both images show the sea ice in September 1st, 2005, the date at which the sea ice was at its minimum extent in the northern hemisphere. The color of the sea ice is derived from the AMSR-E 89 gigahertz brightness temperature. I almost said ASMR, but it's AMSR temperature, while the extent of the sea ice was determined by the AMSRE sea ice concentration. Over the continents, the terrain of... Okay, a lot of technical terms. Thanks, NASA. Appreciate it. And thanks, Snopes, for quoting NASA. Back to Snopes here. The image can be found on NASA's website with the caption, quote, "This image shows a view of the Earth on September 27th, 2005, with the full Antarctic region visible." Okay, end of article. So, hold on, Snopes. You just said that the photo is not real. And then you talk about how NASA, said what it is. And NASA's caption says, "The image shows a view of the Earth on September 21st, 2005, with the full Antarctic region visible."
Right.
So
it just says Antarctica as seen from space.
Uh-huh.
But then they explain that it's, not from a spacecraft, it's from a satellite. Well, that would still be seen from space. So it seems like Snopes has
I've been watching some flat Earth videos, man.
Full flat earther, NASA is fake thing.
But they can't do that 180 pivot without losing all their support, so they got to do it slowly. What if that would be the 180 of the century? If Snopes just comes out and they're like, we believe the Earth is flat, all of the evidence. And then half the people would say, it's Snopes, and the other half will be, finally, Snopes coming around.
We're Snopes. We would know. That's
so I thought this was a very strange debunking by Snopes. It's just really unusual to have, it's not unusual to highlight some random tweet as your source of debunking. That's not the unusual part. But
calling it, that is so weird. The whole caption is weird.
Right.
I'm sorry. The whole rating is weird.
Caption, yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on over there?
Sorry.
I see things entering into your shirt.
Yeah, I'm putting my last ice pack into my shirt.
Not
it's
subtle.
Getting warm around here.
Not subtle, for sure. Yeah.
Oh no, I've given up trying to be subtle. Wow.
So anyway,
okay.
I
so
thought
Snopes is a flat earther. Can we get them to
flat Earth?
Can we get them to fact check that? Like podcaster with googly eyes says Snopes is flat Earth. We rate this miscaptioned.
Miscaptioned.
It's not that we're flat earthers. We just recognize that you can't take the word of authorities over your own eyes. And so, hey, we're just asking questions, guys. We're just asking the questions.
They were good at getting hated by conservatives, but if they want to get hated by everybody, that's the move right there.
Good way to do it.
Join us, Snopes, at the bottom of the rung.
Wow.
All
Love
right.
it.
There you go. That's a show right there.
Well, you're welcome, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. We're going to be back on Friday the 22nd. It's going to be fun. You're going to love it. And we especially want to take a moment to thank profusely our executive producers who carry a heavy load while keeping this show going, especially financially. It's a pretty small list of producers this week, but the executives are keeping us alive, and we appreciate that very much. So thank you to executive producer Dirk S. And we're going to get that knighthood name from you, and we will knight you. And of course, thank you to Sir Captain Redbeard, Pirate King of the D-Moocher, as always, coming in, making landfall for just a moment to let us know how things are out on the high seas. And thank you to all of our producers, including our other financial producers and our artists and our musicians. And remember, if you want to create art or anything for this show to help both transcribe the culture into visual medium or audio medium, or to just delight and confuse the rest of us, send your work into canarycryradio@gmail.com. And thank you to some of our producers behind the scenes helping out with your time, starting with our Clippies.
Clipping all those videos.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you to Emsworth and Faye Livern for keeping the clip channel going, Canary Cry Clips. Everybody should go subscribe to that. If you're not, I don't know what you're doing or why you're doing it, but go check out the Clips channel on YouTube and Odyssey. That's Canary Cry Clips. Thank you to our timestampers.
Timestamp, it's hard work. Timestamp.
Indeed, timestampers, their work touches so much of our material, are just so many of our processes, our materials. Timestampers are getting compliments from a lot of our other back-end producers. It's really an incredible job they do, and I want to thank Jackie Yu for doing our timestamps on Monday.
Thank you, Jackie Yu. Appreciate you.
Indeed. And of course, thank you to Miss G Beauty for helping out with our social media, posting the art and things like that. You're the best, Miss G Beauty. Mm-hmm. And let's see here. Wow, our new document makes this very difficult. Yeah, meetups, do that.
Canary Cry Meetup.
What's wrong with the document?
I'm trying to find where our ending break is.
Oh, did I not link it? Maybe I forgot to link it.
I don't think it's linked. That's okay. Oh, there it is. Oh, it was just minimized. Huh.
Yeah.
Got to remember how computers work once in a while. CanaryCryMeetups.com. Go check it out. Right now, there is I'm trying to remember the details of the DFW meetup. I never did get those sent to me by Adam42. So, you know what? I think there's a group of DFW people who are just meeting up and not inviting anybody else. So walk around Dallas-Fort Worth and make the mating call of the Canarian, caw-caw! And if you hear it back coming from inside some sort of, I don't know, axe-throwing establishment or cornhole club, something like that. Wow, both of those things sound not great. But find the people in Dallas-Fort Worth. We also have the Reno, Nevada meetup coming up on the 30th at San Rafael Park at 3:30 in the afternoon. It's going to be awesome. So if you are within striking distance of Reno, I am going to have an answer for that soon, if I'm going to be able to make it to that one. I'm moving things around, seeing if that's a possibility. I will be moving through the area around those days, but we'll see what happens. Maybe. Moving on. CanaryCryMeetups.com. Go check it out. And if there's not a meetup near you, put one on yourself. I mean, that's the point. Put on a meetup yourself. All you really got to do is tell us about it. We'll make a little flyer. We'll tell the world. And you can meet some Canarians in your area. People find their soulmates, their apocalypse buddies, their everything. It's going to be a good time. And other than that, we've got the Zoom meetup that happens on the third Saturday of every month, which was last Saturday. So good luck. Other than that, go check it out. CanaryCryMeetups.com. We'll see you at the meetup. Davy Frost is in the chat talking about a Houston area meetup. Houston area meetup, anyone? Working out the details right now. So, okay, Houston folks, stay frosty. Houston, Georgia. No, okay, I'm moving on. Reviews. Leave us ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts. It's very helpful. I know every podcast asks you for ratings and reviews, and you just have gotten very good at ignoring it. I understand. I do the same. Maybe I need to go start leaving reviews on other podcasts just to signal that it's okay to leave reviews. But if you leave ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts, every Apple device has it. It's a little purple icon. Click on that, search for Canary Cry News Talk, leave a rating and a review. When we get 5 or more of these a week, it really, really does a lot for the algorithms. New people find the show. The show is presented to people who listen to other shows. It's really something we can't do for ourselves. Only you can do it. Money can't buy it. It's all about you Apple Podcast folks leaving ratings and reviews. So please consider doing that. It helps us out quite a bit. If we get 5 or more by Friday, it'll make me go, ooh, woo. Ooh, whoop. And if you don't do it, you'll have to deal with Gonza's grumpy uncle.
Still.
Ugly, horrible person. You must leave review on iTunes. And if you do not, you are ugly, horrible person. You bring shame to family. Ugly, horrible person.
They have Replica on Oculus. You can do a VR thing with your Replica.
Danger.
I still have my old Oculus. Maybe I could fire that sucker up. Yeah, so thank you very much. Leave those ratings and reviews. It means a lot to us. Let's see. Other than that, just share the show. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Share it with your birds. The birds, the real birds. There's the fake birds. There's the real birds in the Bible. And then there's the fake birds that the government replaced all the real birds with in the 1970s and used them as government drones. So if you really want to make sure that the government gets the message, you're going to have to make sure that these birds hear the podcast. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to need to get a whole bunch of bread, old bread. Go down to your local bakery. They'll just give you a lot of old bread. Do not eat this bread. A lot of times it's very bad for you, moldy bread. But you take this bread, big old bag of bread, take it down to the park and start spreading this bad bread around. Put this bad bread on the ground. Perhaps if you have a friend, a particularly gutsy friend who has some sort of addiction to adrenaline, have them lay down on the grass and cover them in bread. And soon you'll be seeing the government drones all around. Here's what they don't tell you. Those birds, a.k.a. government drones, they recharge on the power lines, but they are also serving as secondary carbohydrate processing units in order to recharge their batteries. So they'll love eating that bread. So get your friend, lay down on the ground, cover that crazy kid in bread all over the head, the waist, the feet. Don't forget to cover the toes with the bread. The birds will come in the hundreds, the millions. These government drones, they're just unstoppable when it comes to chomping this bread. And that'll be a really fun and exciting thing for your friend who is now covered in government drones. Do not try to catch the government drones. This is unhealthy for you and for the government, and you'll get a bunch of drone poop on you. But what you can do is set up an elaborate series of speakers all around the park, and when all these drones land and recharge with the carbohydrate processing units, just turn on Canary Cry News Talk at full blast, and suddenly all the FBI, CIA, NSA, the Department of Energy, Pete Buttigieg himself will suddenly be blasted by the opening music to Canary Cry News Talk. And you know what? What's the way? We've been told by AOC that the real danger is within. And if we start waking up all of those government agents to the facts that even they are being lied to by the mainstream corporate media, that even they are not serving their country. They're not doing their patriotic duty. They're serving some lizard people who are attempting to feed on the souls and wills of human beings around the world using constructed narratives in which to craft an illusory reality to control their voting habits as well as their purchasing behavior for the benefit of profit-seeking corporations around the world. And those CIA agents, NSA agents, they'll realize that they're actually serving McDonald's and Coca-Cola and all the Raytheons of the world. And some of them, they know that already, and they'll keep doing what they're doing. But suddenly, the United States government will have a hard time. They will have to start offering benefits. Can you imagine? Government benefits to these people to try to convince them that participating in such a corrupt system is actually a worthwhile way to spend this one life on Earth that we've been given by our Creator. There's a lot of things you can do with this life, folks, but working for some sort of panopticon intelligence web of deception might not be the most rewarding way to spend that life. And they'll figure it out, and then they'll become Canarians, and then the dominoes will begin to fall, folks. That's just one way that you can help spread the show. You don't have to do it that way. But if you need any more instructions, we like to call it rattling cages. All you got to do is walk right up to them, grab them by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. Gons, any last words?
I forgot one story from earlier on with my whole Putin nuke setup.
Okay.
And I'll just read the headline here from Yahoo News, mirroring Business Insider. Putin believes he's winning in Ukraine, but will become most dangerous when he thinks Russia is losing, experts warn. So, just this little setup about, when things are going well, if Putin thinks things are going well, we're safe. If he thinks we're losing, nuke.
Nuke. And then we all win.
So when we start hearing about how Putin is losing, like really, really hard, be scared.
Okay.
Bye, everybody. See you on Friday. Hopefully he doesn't blow nuke between today and Friday.
Get out of the metropolitan areas, folks. Learn how to garden. Not very good at it yet, but I'm working on it. All right, everybody, thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time, but until then, think outside the cage.
We're all gonna die.
I love the Great Reset.
This is not about freedom or personal choice. We will hunt you down and make you pay.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
You little rascal. I am so hot.
You're so hot.
I'm... Gons. I am so hot. So hot. Penis. I cannot believe I just said that out loud. Proceedings.
National Academy of Sciences, PNAS.
Oh my gosh, Adam Carolla got me again. All right.
Anatomical reference.
Is that fake? It looks real. The whole thing is real. There's no other satire.
The website, pnas.org. I mean, we're looking at the
PNAS.
Where's their PR people? They're probably like,
Guns, you know what's going on. Guns. Canary Cry News Talk, man, what's going on? Gotta turn it on, shows coming on live. VPN on when I'm going online. Anonymity, man, cryptocurrency. We got everything you need, get it 3 times a week. Jesus Christ the King, let the Holy Spirit speak. Battle in the cage, gotta set the captive free. Value for value, to me it's not free. Wish I had a longer streak, but this creativity, go fulfill the 3 T's. That's time, treasure, talent. Give it right back, put it right back in balance. Not right or left, we not with the distractions. Catastrophes are the classic techniques, all attacks of the enemy, getting defeated underneath the feet of Jesus. Just believe us, media is trying to deceive you. Gotta read between the lines till you see through the disguise. It's a slit reptilian eye sitting on top the pyramid. Got a myriad of topics, might be on a watch list. R.I.P. face like the sun, but you cannot stop this. Like the Lord's gonna come stop this beast system, this infinite wisdom. Yeah, when the time is right, yeah, we're gonna take flight like a thief in the night. So I gotta get it right. I gotta repent and sit patient, waiting for supply drop. Google eyes don't blink, man, I need some eye drops. Google mind deep thinking for the AI thoughts. Yeah, Basil Gons, you know what's going on. Basil Gons, Canary Crown News Talk, man, what's going on. Basil Gons, and you know what's going on. Basil, Canary Crown News Talk, man, what's going on.
I was carried away in the Spirit to a great mountain, and I saw the holy city coming down out of heaven from God. There was no temple in the city, for its temple is the Lord God Almighty, and the Lamb. There is no need of the sun or moon, for the glory of God gives it light. Nothing unclean will ever enter it, nor anyone who does what is detestable, but only those who are written in the Lamb's book of life. Then I saw the river of the water of life. It was bright as crystal, and it flowed from the throne of God. It ran through the middle of the city, and on either side of the river was the tree of life, with 12 kinds of fruit. The leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. No longer will there be any perversion, for the throne of God and of the Lamb will be in the midst of the city, and his servants will worship him there. They will see his face, and his name will be on their foreheads. These words are trustworthy and true. The Most High Lord, God of the spirits and of the prophets, has sent messengers to tell his servants what must soon take place. For behold, the Christ returns swiftly. Blessed is the one who holds fast to the words of this book. I am coming soon, bringing my recompense with me, to repay each one for what he has done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end. Blessed are those who wash their robes, so that they may have the right to the tree of life, and that they may enter the city. I, Jesus, have sent my angel to testify about these things. I am the root of the offspring of David. The Spirit and the bride say, Come. Therefore, let the one who hears say also, Come. To those who hear the words of the prophecy of this book, be warned. If anyone adds to them, God will add to him the plagues described in this book. And if anyone takes away from the words of the prophecy of this book, God will take away his portion in the tree of life, tree of life, tree of life, tree of life.
CanaryCrimeRadio.com/support.
Do not come back, you Nazi psychopaths.